This guy was 12 years old who interviewed me.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, August 12th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gizmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1059.
This is No Agenda.
Deconstructing, deplatforming, and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's smoky, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Ooh, thought went into it, yes. Smoky.
Yes.
Smoky.
A lot of work went into that one.
Yeah, real smoky.
Yeah, I come back from up north and it's smoky.
Smoky. So the smoke is now traveling over the bay.
The smoke is everywhere.
Really?
Apparently, they found some of the smoke has traveled as far as Vermont or Boston.
Yeah, Austin. Yeah.
Boston, too.
Boston. It's raining here, man. I'll tell you, it's bad. Once again, the gays are out of luck. Remember last year we had the Pride Parade rained out? Hurricane Harvey. This year,
no, I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. And this year, again, the Pride Parade rained. Well, they had the parade, but it was rained out. They didn't cancel it, at least. It's been really bad. It's been wet, stormy, crazy. Rain sticks all the way.
Huh.
It always happens when we shake them vigorously.
Shake them, baby.
Yeah. And people keep asking for more rain stick karma. I don't think we should do it. I'm very worried.
No.
Because if we do any more, it could turn ugly in places.
We're not doing it until we get back to next year. We'll do it next year. It's a 1 year abeyance.
A whole year?
Yeah. Don't you think?
No. I think we should wait a little while until things calm down. But people do need rain stick.
I don't think they're going to need it for a year.
Well,
okay, we'll just let it. We'll ad lib. But I'm telling you, you're not going to see any action. That's my guess.
You're so frigid. No action. What am I going to do?
No action, dudes.
Yeah. All right. So you got back from up north from Washington State.
Yeah,
Washington, and you had a big meetup there.
Yes, we had a big meetup. I'm going to do a separate listing of the donations the show received from the meetup.
It seemed like you had 30, 40 people maybe there.
About 48.
Wow. That's probably the biggest we've ever had, I think.
It's pretty close to it. If not, It probably is the biggest. They were hankering for a meetup. So we have, in the process, of course, we had the entire Garland clan.
Yes.
The Fisher woman or sister or brother.
Yeah. Oh, did you meet Elise Garling?
Yeah, she was there. She managed to get there.
Oh, how was she? She must be a sweetheart.
She rushed over to get there and didn't bring the limoncello.
And of course, you sent her back right away. It's like, well, hey, what are you thinking? Get out of my face.
Turns out they're both of them. They had to make the same horrible trip from Port Angeles. So she's great. The whole group is great.
Yeah, it looked like there were some fun people there.
Ian they have an uncle or somebody that owns a bar in Ballard that we're going to make as a permanent meetup place for up there.
In Port Angeles? Or in Seattle?
In Seattle.
Excellent.
Seattle area.
She comes from an interesting family. I think they made wine in their brownstone in New York in the early 1900s or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, who else was there? Who else?
Bem Rose was there. The doctor, Birch. Knight Birch took all the photos.
Yeah, cool. Someone had a drone, I think, for one of the photos I saw looked like a drone shot?
No, that was the nature of the location. He was just up on the thing.
Oh, okay. And Sir Bemrose from our stream services, along with Void Zero, he was there?
No, Void Zero was not there.
No, I'm not. I know Void wasn't there. He's in the Netherlands, but Sir Bemrose was there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There was a lot of people. There was people from Amazon Security. There was a Russian card trick guy. There was a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, how is that different from a Ukrainian card trick guy, though, is the question.
Well, one's Russian.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Hey, Ben Rose is a pretty good-looking guy for a dude named Ben.
There's a lot of good-looking dudes named Ben there. Mostly, I think half the place is dudes named Ben, or what former dudes named Ben now coding or doing something else.
Yeah, well, when you're wearing a T-shirt that says, more beer But then on the command line, it's like, okay, we know where you're coming from. Cool. And so how did you follow the typical format? Everyone sat down, talked a bit, and then broke off, or was it just all kinds of...
No, that format's always been dead. That's been dead to me.
It's hard. Yeah, I agree.
So what we did is we tried to have the meetup in one place, and they couldn't accommodate us because everyone was there pre-concert, Pearl Jam concert, so the whole town was filled.
Oh, okay.
And there's some other event going on, and some Microsoft thing. And then so we went to another place where turns out hey, this place is half empty. Let's go in here. And it turns out they were reserved, so we couldn't go in there. So we had the meeting where you saw the photo from kind of out in the open,
like a courtyard. It looked like.
Yeah, it's in a courtyard, and we spent. And then after
it looked a bit like a gulag courtyard, honestly.
Seattle, and so getting people used to it. And so then we kind of went into the bar after everyone kind of cleared out, and some of us stayed around.
Oh, nice.
It was great. It was very interesting. Good conversationalists, interesting people.
Did you learn anything that we should discuss? Is there anything?
No, but I did. I think I'm going to.
Okay. Excellent. Now, I was a little worried about you. I figured you might have some trouble getting back to Oakland. Because of the hijacking up there.
Yeah, I have a clip.
Oh, okay. Hold on a sec. Which one is it?
I have to get my clip list.
Should be.
Stolen plane in Seattle.
There you go.
One man's apparent suicide mission that caused tension in skies over Seattle for more than an hour Friday night. Authorities say an employee of Horizon Air, a regional carrier owned by Alaska Airlines, stole an empty turboprop plane from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport before crashing it on Ketron Island in Puget Sound, southwest of Seattle. Amateur video shows the plane being followed by F-15 fighter jets before the crash. CBS News transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve is in our Washington bureau with the latest. Chris, good morning.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning. The FBI says this does not appear to be an act of terror. Instead, authorities say the 29-year-old Horizon Air ground service agent was suicidal when he stole the plane. It was not in service. It was parked in a maintenance area last night. Investigators believe the crash occurred because the man, who appeared to lack flying skills, was trying to do stunts. Cell phone video captured the moment the stolen twin-engine Horizon Airlines plane does what appears to be a mid-air barrel roll before dropping down perilously above the waterline off the coast of Seattle, Washington.
What the hell is this guy doing?
Big passenger plane just goes sideways, goes almost like perpendicular to the ground and just flies, felt like a few hundred feet above the ground.
In radio communications, air traffic controllers and a Horizon pilot refer to the man flying as Rich. As they talked with him, it became increasingly clear the airline employee was not going to safely land the plane.
I got a lot of people that care about me, and it's going to disappoint them to hear that I did this. Just a broken guy. Got a few screws loose, I guess.
A pair of F-15 fighter jets were scrambled from a base in Portland, Oregon, and intercepted the Q-400 turboprop within minutes. They could be seen from the ground trailing the stolen plane.
One was low near the plane and one was high way up in the air, and they followed it around. And a few minutes later, we heard a loud explosion noise.
The hour-long flight ended in a fiery crash on Ketron Island, a small island with few residents. Investigators don't believe anyone on the ground was hurt, and the fire does not pose a threat to anyone. It does not appear the man who stole the plane survived the crash.
Apparently it was somebody who did something wrong, did something foolish, and may well have paid with his life.
I'm a little pissed because I found a video on YouTube, and it's very hard to find any. I could not find this audio again because, of course, the video got pulled down before I could record it, and it had at a certain point the F-15 pilot switched over to the SeaTac. I don't know if it was tower or approach, and so they were talking to the tower, saying what they were doing, and very clearly, twice, in fact, at a certain point, one of the there was number 45 and number 46 says, "Okay, intercepted." And that, I heard that twice. I'm like, okay, they intercepted him. That doesn't just, I don't think that means you're just flying around waving at him. I think he was shot down. Although I know that's been
immediately
disputed.
After the JC kept very close tabs on this.
Oh, good.
And immediately after the incident, the internet started reporting that he was shot down.
Mm-hmm.
and that all those reports were taken down.
I saw, of course, a lot of the video. The barrel roll he did. If you learn that through Flight Simulator, then Flight Simulator is amazeballs. I mean, to get this thing, apparently he took off with his wheels smoking, so he probably had his feet on the brakes or something. It's probably the brakes that were smoking. But he got airborne. This didn't look like someone who had never flown an aircraft before. Maybe even specifically this aircraft, because that barrel roll. I've done a few with an instructor. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Now, you're talking about the barrel roll where you're going forward and then you flip the plane around and come back
and you
to
come
normal.
back down. Yeah. Well, basically, it's a half loop.
Well, the barrel roll that I know of is the one where you're going forward and you go and you do a kind of a twirl straight.
No. He went up. It's almost.
I'm saying that's what I always thought a barrel roll was. What I saw him do, it was exactly what you said, which is he came up and did a loop and went upside down and came out of it.
He did a barrel roll into the loop, which is, I think, technically a wing over. So it's not quite the same as a loop because you don't get the same G-forces. But he
was flying upside down for a while.
Okay, well, I don't know. I only saw what I saw.
I saw that on one of the videos, and he was flying upside down, and one of the videos, the guy said, "Oh, wow!" He says, that plane doesn't do that because these planes are all over this area. These
well, no, they don't do it typically. No, that's not typical behavior.
And then they have one good shot of him coming down out of one of these tricks, and he comes down toward the water.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the barrel roll, the wing over. I'm talking about. That was good.
Comes out down toward the water and pulls up.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at this. I think if the guy was so, it seems like he knew how to fly. He was doing some pretty fancy stuff.
But what I'm missing is, do we have reports on his background? I mean, I don't really see any other reporting.
Getting nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
It's very well. Here, I pulled a little bit from a different video because the M5M is kind of playing that which was in that report over and over again. There's at least 18 minutes of conversation. Here's a little bit more.
Very good. I don't need that much help. I played some video games before. I would like to figure out how to get this cabin altitude. Like, I know where the box is. I would like to get some, make it pressurized or something so I'm not so lightheaded.
I thought this was interesting. Well, first of all, when he took off, I didn't clip that. He says, "Oh, hold on, I just threw up a little bit." He's like puking in the cockpit, I guess nerves or whatever. That was just upon takeoff. But now he's saying he wants to pressurize the cabin. But as far as I know, he never really got above 5,000 or 6,000 feet. I don't think he was flying above 10,000 at any point, was he? Because
he was always low.
So you don't need to pressurize. So his lightheadedness was, from what is obvious to me, is the problem is Chantix. This is to me, this is suicidal, going crazy, seemingly aware, doing nutty stuff, yet able to function completely. To me, Chantix written all over it. Let's listen to some more.
Anyway, minimum wage. We'll chalk it up to that. Maybe that'll grease the gears.
So he said, "Yeah, just chalk it up to minimum wage. That's why I'm flipping out."
A little bit with the higher up. Maybe, yeah. Damn it, Andrew! People's lives are at stake here.
Now he's going schizophrenic.
Now, Rich, don't say stuff like that.
No, I just told you I don't want to hear no one. I just want you to whisper sweet nothings into my ear. Hey, you think if I land this successfully, Labs will give me a job as a pilot?
I think they would give you a job doing anything if you could pull this off.
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm a white guy.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's in there, too. So, I don't know. Maybe it'll just get blamed on weed. He was smoking weed, evil marijuana.
Well, they like to do that up in Washington. They do it in Colorado. They do it in Oregon. They do it in all places.
Anywhere they can, yeah. Anywhere they can. I talked to as many different contacts as I could over the weekend. No one has a confirmation of a shoot down. But, man, bizarre for sure. Very bizarre. I
like the Chantix angle. I didn't think of that.
That's the first thing that came to mind. Of course, it's fresh.
I don't know why I wasn't thinking it. Well, I was up in Pacific Northwest.
Well, here's the thing. He was a a ground agent, so he's responsible for helping.
Well, see, I thought that's not the story we were told, and even in that report, they said it was a mechanic.
Okay, I read a different report.
He was a mechanic, and he was one of the planes that they were working on in the hangar.
Okay, I heard he was a ground service personnel. I'm trying to see if I can find that article where I found it. But either way, whether you're a mechanic or you're on the tarmac, you're in a non-smoking area. So that's for sure. There's going to be people who have patches, and I know patches. Like I've been around hangars a lot of patches going on. So Chantix is definitely a possibility.
Well, that'll never come out.
No, of course not. We're not even getting a background on this guy. That's what's crazy. Where's his last name? Where's his last name?
I don't know. We don't even have his last name. And it said, you have to remember the CBS reporter, one of the top women working at CBS. I forgot her name off the top of my head, but she's over, doing stuff for Sinclair now. Blames all kinds of things except the fact that she did an anti-Chantix report for CBS once, and that was the end of her.
Oh, Atkinson.
Yes,
Cheryl Atkinson. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the Chantix reporting that did her in.
Yeah, she doesn't even know it.
And right off the bat, you realize, well, we don't take advertisements here on this show. It's the only way we can at least talk about things. I don't know if we're getting to the truth, but I leave Chantix as an option. It's got to be an option.
Yeah, it's an obvious one.
Yeah.
Because this happens, this exact sort of thing.
This kind of scenario.
As a side effect.
Yeah, suicidal, you sleepwalking, you may not, you may be somewhere and not remember how you got there, violence.
Yeah, maybe going down in flames and waking up.
Gotta wake up. Well, it was some interesting airmanship he displayed, and I'm glad no one got hurt, obviously.
Yeah, it's good that no one got hurt. And he did give the show to the locals.
Yeah, nice air show. The Seattle Air Show, everybody. It only lasts 15 minutes.
Flying around a commuter prop jet, and it's going upside down. It should be good. It's the thing it means by Bombardier, so they should use it as hey, look at these jets or these planes of ours are pretty well made.
That's a pretty big one. It's like, I think it's 70, 75, 76 passengers. It's pretty big.
I've been in this.
Yeah, those are nice. But I'm sure they can do that kind of maneuvering with no one on board. That's not a problem. We were about to go to bed Saturday, and all of a sudden my phone just starts blowing up, man. My phone's blowing up. And it's Eric the Shill. He's like, what you seen about the hijacking? I'm like, we got the music on. We got the candles going. Oh, stop. Let me check the hijack. And there wasn't much at that point here, but nationally there was. But, you get all this information, as Eric, in his deconstruction mode, said, well, this guy's a mechanic. He should know you can't fly upside down with this aircraft because it doesn't have pressurized pumps. It's like, did you ever hear of centrifugal force? You can fly this plane upside down without pump. Not the whole time wouldn't be a good idea. So you said he was upside down.
Cross country.
No, you said he was upside down for a long time. Or for a while.
It looked like he was upside down for a long time. I mean, a long time on a video clip is like 5-6 seconds.
And you got fuel pumps. But again, all kinds of stuff you kind of got to know. And maybe he was over-revving the engines. I mean, I'm not familiar with the sound, so he may have been, because he kept talking about his fuel depleting pretty quickly. Who knows? But it was just, if that guy learned to fly like that from Flight Simulator or for Xbox or whatever, these things are valid.
Well, they've always been valid. People know that. I mean, simulators.
But this is very valid. This is really valid.
And simulators have always been used for training.
If you said to me, okay, we're just gonna assume he knew how to start it. Just assume he knew how to start it, which is also a process.
Yes.
If you said, hey,
there's no key.
Go fly that thing. It's not just that. You get, with turbine engines, you have to get to your N1, and you can't over rev it, or the engine could split. There's a whole bunch of steps. And if
the engine will split.
Yes, the housing on the engine will split. if it goes up to full speed too quickly, and they have to take the whole engine. I know because I've over revved a jet engine, and it was a very costly mistake. Because he said, we're gonna have to open the engine now. You fucked it up.
That's embarrassing.
Expensive and embarrassing. Oh, yeah, it's thousands of dollars. It's very, very bad. So,
while you're on the topic, I might as well mention my some aspects of my trip.
Okay. Yes, of course. You
because the jet engine that is been installed at the Oakland TSA.
Yeah, the new high-tech baggage scanner.
Yeah, which says in different letters says anal object.
Anal object, yes.
But it's like ANAL. And it looks like a big butthole. It's a big giant thing.
Wait, let me see a picture of this. So it's like a joke? They're making a joke with their industrial design?
No, nobody's making a joke. No jokes. I was making a joke, but nobody was getting it.
No, I got it the first 3 times you made the joke.
Well, anyways.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because the anal is a darker shade of no. It's just what your brain is seeing. I see analogic. I don't know what you see. You see analogic.
Analogic.
Yeah. Well,
anyway,
what does that say?
The thing is a huge, beautiful piece of gear. I mean, you look at it and it's got like highlight. It's got little blue and red lights that are in. The thing is over designed for being pretty.
Well, and that makes me extremely suspicious.
I would be too, but it doesn't look like but when you look at the other x-ray machines compared to it, you'd look at them, they got louvers that look like they were put in by a punch press. They're just cheesy.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing no one in their right mind would accidentally put their dog through. Like the thing that they use like now is like, it is like a CAT scan. I'd have to see if there's some details on the technology behind it, see what they're actually doing.
I tried asking around, and everyone was, I don't know. I mean, the TSA in Oakland is just a bunch of duds. And I tried to even go through it, to go in that direction.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the last show, I guess.
You did. All right, but the event, the trip was uneventful otherwise?
No, I thought it was fun the whole time because I got parking. Like I got a parking spot in front of the venue for the meetup. I got a parking spot at the B&B where I had to spend the night.
You mean this is the parking karma?
Parking karma was kicking butt. And there's a number of things that on the way back, at SeaTac, SeaTac's got Clear.
Yes. Which is a commercial version of the pre-check.
Yeah. So I go into I'm on now Seattle's a terrible airport. It's very poorly operated. And if anybody, the rental car shuttle bus was like about a half-hour wait to get on it. Mm-hmm. But they have this clear area, and you have to go to first. You got to pre-clear. It's punch into some machine or something, and then you got to go over where the TSA pre is, and which is in a single spot by itself. There's no pre attached to any of the other lines, so you have to waltz all the way to the end of the airport to go through it. But it's worth it because the lines had to be an hour.
So you had a clear card?
No, I have TSA pre.
Oh, okay, it's just in the same area,
but it's in the same thing. And so there's nobody in the clear line, and so I get to the end of the line where there's a big giant thing before you get there that you would be walking through if there's anybody there, but there's nobody, so you just go straight. So at the end, there's at the clear thing, because I'm right next to it, it says, ask about our free month offer.
So you say, hey, I'd like to ask about my free month.
I asked the TSA person about the free month. And I said, who's there to take your ID? And she says, I don't know. Ask the clear people. We got nothing to do with them. I said, well, where are they? She said, way at the other end. I said, I'm not going to walk over there to ask them. Why don't they put the sign over there? And so I bitched about the same thing to the next guy, who was actually amenable. This one woman was a dud. Yeah. But this older guy.
You're just a troublemaker, aren't you? Hey, goes, I have a question that she won't answer.
No, I didn't say that, but I could have.
Yeah.
So I said, I did the same routine on him about why don't they move the sign. And he says, yeah, these guys are idiots. He says, I don't know why anybody would take them up on this offer. I said, you get a free month. He says, so what? Then he goes on, he says, it's a JIP. Huh. He says it's $200 a year or something. We can do if you go to tsa.gov/something, you can get on the pre system for $85 a year. He says it's the best deal.
How about I'm just an American citizen, you fuck off and let me on the plane?
And
instead of all these deals and paying extra money. Paying extra money.
To say that when there's no line.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I hate it. The whole thing
well, anyway,
is...
so he's going on about if you're going to do anything, get the TSA pre. It's a better deal. Yeah. And I said, well, I get it anyway. He says, yeah, you're a frequent flyer. So I keep going through the line. Next thing you know, I go through and there's I had a good bit. Very pretty TSA woman at the end. And they push my bag aside like they did on the way out. And I brought back some hand-ground Russian red wheat from Port Angeles.
Wait, this is in your carry-on? You only have a carry-on, of course. Yeah.
No. I have a luggage and a roller and a carry-on.
Oh.
And it's in there. And she pulls the flour out. She's digging around. She threw the dirty underwear. She's
the Speedos.
Digging around. And I don't use Speedos. And she pulls out the bag of flour and she says, I've got to check this. And I said, without missing a beat, for equality?
And did she find that humorous?
Yes, she did.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So then when I finally got to the plane, I realized that in my carry-on, personal carry-on,
you left your machete.
No, there was a bottle of water in there.
Which they didn't catch.
No.
Amazing. The security theater and the hoops we jump through to make us believe we're safe is astounding sometimes.
Yeah, well, you're going to feel a lot better when the anal logic thing is put in play.
It is kind of foretelling of our future, isn't it? It's like humans are next. Come into the anal logic machine. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Make sure there's nothing in your prison mailbox. Exactly. Well, thank you for that report. I feel so much safer knowing that these programs are in place and functioning just fine.
Yeah.
Now, I sent you an article which was about San Francisco, Seattle, and Austin, which we might as well just talk about now since you still have Seattle fresh on the brain. This was something that came in on the Austin American Statesman, our local hometown newspaper.
I don't know if was it an article or a short book?
Yeah, I think it was a giblet. Tech takeover, arrival of industry giants remaking downtown Austin, which I think I've been complaining about for a while.
Years.
Yes, and finally someone's noticing and written a book about it. Newcomers include Walmart, which I was not aware of, who opened up an engineering hub downtown that features all the perks you'd find at a young cutting-edge startup. Walmart ATX in the former Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, which is 4th in Colorado. They are developing emerging technology such as machine learning, artificial intelligence, and blockchain for Walmart. Woohoo!
Blockchain.
Blockchain for Walmart, baby. Then, of course, we have, obviously, Google. We have FaceBag. I think the U.S. Army has also opened a tech center, the Army Futures Command, which, let's see, where are they? It's just a whole bunch of tech.
Yeah, tech. I know I'm reading that article and it's kind of making me ill.
Yeah.
It's like, how much tech do we need?
In the universe?
I mean, it's just like, what?
In the universe in general, you mean? Or just?
Anybody, yes, in the universe. I mean, tech. I don't know. It just seems, I sense the last time we've had a number of crashes. It's a cycle. And San Francisco's always involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the last big one, there was the .com, which was obvious what was going to happen there. Because that coincided with Y2K,
right.
Another tech debacle.
Tech. Well, that was old tech trying to jump on the bandwagon, trying to jump on the money train. Yeah, fix our stuff.
And so that combination put us in the hole, but it also stretched out the possibility of another tech bubble. Before that, there was the multimedia tech bubble. CD-ROMs, everybody's going to be, we're all going to have CD-ROMs are going to be the information at your fingertips.
Interactive movies.
Yeah, everything.
You determine the outcome.
Movies was in there.
Multimedia magazines.
Yeah.
Philips CDI technology. Oh, yeah. I remember it all. I remember it all. Sure.
Yeah, well, it's memorable. Yeah. And it caused a bubble and it burst. And San Francisco was, when things started gravitating.
John. Encarta.
Encarta.
Remember? Yeah. Oh, the whole encyclopedia now fits on a shiny disc. Wow.
So when that era, I remember I remember it was about 90. It was the late 80s, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it went to then it crashed around there. When it started gravitating to San Francisco, and there was all these shops being put up.
This is when we had, I think, Macromind Director was a big part of that.
Yeah, and they were in San Francisco.
Yeah.
When all these guys gravitated to San Francisco out of Silicon Valley, which is where this stuff's supposed to be going on, not San Francisco, Poop City, which should be a tourist trap. And by the way, this is another problem I had. The real problem I had with the trip was you can see that Seattle has become the tourist destination over San Francisco.
Oh.
Because it's not seen as Poop City. Everybody knows about the poop. I was grilled about it. But is that true? The stories they're telling? Are they just, yeah. Seattle has its homeless encampments, too, we may talk about later. But there's not the poop issue.
Right.
They have dirt they can poop in. Then they cover it up like a cat. So the San Francisco was the nexus it started becoming the nexus. And when that happened, it crashed. And I think San Francisco's become the nexus again for Twitter. There's no reason for Twitter to be in San Francisco. These companies, Twitter, Google, there's no reason for offices in San Francisco. Salesforce building, there's no reason. They should all be down in Redwood City or Mountain View.
Right.
We've got the more cosmopolitan. They don't need cosmopolitan. They need Mountain View. So
why are they doing it then? Why are they?
It's something sick about it. It's like part of the cycle. They gravitate because they think there's more cosmopolitan. There's no good restaurants in Mountain View. There actually are, but they're all Chinese. There's no good French restaurants. There's no theater. There's no form of theater. The current, you can go to see a Broadway play, a road show, all this kind of hoity-toity bullcrap.
Right.
It's just there's no reason for it, but they'll do it, or there's better. It's not even cheaper. So, the fact that it hasn't crashed already, somehow Trump is doing something. He's sold his soul to the devil or something to keep the economy from crashing before the elections.
Yeah. So it happens right after the midterms? Is that when we're all screwed and everything comes crashing down? Yeah, that's true.
But meanwhile, it's gotten so bad. San Francisco got filled up, and so the overflows going to Austin and Seattle. Seattle, the whole north side of Seattle, according to my son's friend who was an Amazon person there, and I've talked to people at the meetup about this too. Amazon's got something like 45,000 people working in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they've built these apartment complexes, all brand new in the north part of the town. They're all kind of there's got to be some McMansion name for them, McApartments or something. There's like thousands of them. It's a mess.
I just call them dormitories.
Might as well. It is a complete mess. It's not. In fact, one guy says to me, "You come here a lot." He says, "Have you been here? When's the last time you were here?" I said, "I haven't been here to Seattle and hung around for at least over a year." He says, "Do you notice any changes?" Because it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because my daughter actually, I FaceTimed with her, whatever, Skype. And she said, "Daddy, I've been looking at my friends in Austin because she lived with me for a while." She says, I see all the Instagram pictures, and it's becoming a gentrified douchebag place. What's going on there?
Gentrified.
And so with all this rain we actually had on Wednesday, was it Wednesday? No, I'm sorry, Friday. We had a nice day, so I went out and had some lunch at Taverna, which is on the corner of 2nd Street in Lavaca. It's it's an Italian restaurant. Just outside, had some focaccia bread and a chopped salad.
Hey,
forget about it. Forget about it. I was the only one, but it was cool enough, temperature-wise, to sit outside. And I'm just watching, and in the 40 minutes that I was there, I saw hundreds of the bird bikes, of the scooters, just boom, 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 people zipping back and forth. It's a pretty busy intersection, but a lot of them. Everybody walking with their phones, one or two in their hands, just walking and looking at their phone. We have pretty broad sidewalks here, so you can, walk on your phone while you're on your phone and still not get hit by these scooters. But, as it gets busier, we'll see some calamity. Everybody very young, very young. And then maybe every 10 minutes, 7 minutes, a Ferrari or a Maserati or something coming through the streets. Now, when I moved here downtown at first, we still had pickup trucks roaming the streets.
Yeah, it's always pickup trucks. Usually with 4-door pickup trucks with a big cab.
There's douchebags in Enzos.
Well, I saw.
What the hell are you doing with an Enzo in downtown?
I saw I didn't see an Enzo, but I saw 3 Ferraris at least in the Seattle area. Yeah. Gunning it,
Yeah. Now, the reason why Austin is popular is, twofold. One is that cosmopolitan vibe. And, of course, Austin is not really Texas. It's the liberal island smack in the middle of Texas. Shunned by many or laughed at if you're outside of Austin. Were you from Austin? Yeah, no, but so you're not from Texas. Okay, yeah, gotcha. But, so that's very attractive for the overflow, as you said. The overflow. And you hear them talking. You can hear that these are mainly people from California. I hear some people from New York, but certainly not native Texans. And FaceBag alone is thinking of placing 3,000 people downtown. They have about 700 now.
Doing what?
Well, that we now know is unfortunately their business, because we know that it's not customer service because there is none. So it's not people answering the phone saying, FaceBag, how may I help you? These are the moderators. These are the people this is the AI. This is the AI of these companies, because we have no state income taxes here. So it's very cheap, or it's much cheaper, let's put it that way, to put people in downtown. They bus them in from outside. Every morning you can watch the mini buses. Boop, 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 boop. They all show up here at the FaceBag headquarters. I can see them from my balcony. They're busting from the cheaper area, which, is out maybe by the Domain, which is that live work place where there's also some tech companies and offices up there. No, it's become a complete douchebag tech. Not that all these people are douchebags, of course, but collectively, yeah, it's pretty douchey. And it's not really what I like so much about being in the South or being in Texas. And I think we're just going to see more and more. This is where the actual artificial intelligence lives here in Austin. And they're making it work here. Because what else are they doing? They're not high-end engineering jobs. I hear the conversations. I hear what people are talking about on the street. And this is where they're going to have to house them just for cheap. Well, of course, Washington State is good for that as well. Same idea with the income taxes, or lack thereof.
JC pointed something out interesting, because we were floating around at the end of the meetup. And there's just this, like the downtown area, 1st, 2nd Street, this down towards Pike's Market, is got bar after bar after bar after bar after bar filled with people.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't remember there being so many bars. There used to be some strip clubs, which are all closed down.
Oh, no, that's way too dangerous for these new workers.
But there's all these bars. And he said that the sociology is that it's like they get paid pretty much what they get paid in California. They don't have any state income tax, which is a huge payment in California. And the cost of living, because of the prices of real estate, which is high for the area, is low for San Francisco.
Exactly.
And so they have all this extra money, and so they just hang out in bars all the time. It's like a whole, it's like a millennial's dream come true for bars.
Well, yeah. Well,
they're packed. These bars are packed.
What they do seem to like more is the chains. So Flower Child, which is a kind of a healthy salad bar wrap type place. We've got North's. I don't know if you know about North's.
No.
But it's Italian. It's all chain stuff. They love it. They love the chain. And the prices are crazy. So anyway, we got to move out. It's too much.
Where are you going to go? It's a plague. Why don't you just wait for the economy to collapse? You'll be fine.
stick it out. Wait for the Armageddon. It's going to be great downtown when the economy collapses and we've got thieves roaming the streets. No. No, there will be
pooping everywhere while they're stealing.
There will be absolutely none of that. But
hey, we got a toilet. You could use it. No, I'd rather poop on the floor.
But all of this tech, and it's not just tech. And I thought the Army Cyber Command, or what's it called again? What are they calling their? We got
Space Force.
It's something like that.
Space Force.
Army Futures Command. What the hell is that? Army Futures Command. Are they trading? Is this a commodities arm of the arm? What is this? Let's take a look at this.
The taxpayers' money.
Army's Futures Command. Well, we have Army chooses Austin as home of the new Army's Futures Command. But what is it? What is this? Army's Futures Command, which began operations July 1st, will lead the Army's Future Force Modernization Enterprise. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's a PowerPoint. The command is expected to assess the future operational environment, emerging threats, and new technologies in order to develop and deliver concepts, requirements, future force designs, and modern materiel solutions to meet our soldiers' wartime needs. Oh, brother.
Really?
Ay. So that's what the Futures Command is doing here. So we got a lot of military. We got Bobby Inman down here. Actually, that leads me into something else, because this purge, or the deplatforming, as everyone's
I like that term too.
Yeah,
it's been deplatformed. It's like you've been taking your pants. You've been pantsed.
Well, like castrated, deplatformed. Deballed. I don't know.
Deballed,
deplatformed. And so, as you know, the irritating pieces for me were Apple was like, they're not an advertising-based business. Why did they start this? And Twitter, why have they not booted Jones off? And so I did a lot of research, listened to a lot of opinions, spoke to as many people as I could over the past couple of days. And I do have some ideas and some thoughts and some theories. All
right. Well, I have one clip.
Sure.
But I would rather I'll play the clip in context. So why don't you go on with your whatever?
Well, first I'll just play something that I thought was funny. It's a short clip. This is Oliver Darcy on CNN, and he's pretty much claiming that the journalists got it.
Yes, this is the clip I have.
Okay. Well, I'll play it here then.
And they only actually took action after weeks of media pressure, after weeks of the media outlets saying, you say that this would violate your standards, so why is this still being allowed to be posted? And so Apple was the first at the bat this morning, or last night, with removal of his content. Now we're seeing it trickle out.
It was Apple, and then the domino effect. Oliver Darcy, thank you so much.
Thank you,
yeah, so, like, you may wish for that to be true, but no, I don't think so. But it's interesting that the journos, who are really quite insignificant in the whole scheme of things, I think, I like that he's trying to take some credit.
Well, the point is that the other people are making is maybe it's, they can't put some pressure on people and on things, and they are bragging, at least this guy is, and he's got other evidence that if you look at his tweets, he's bragging about how the journals finally got these guys off the air because they're fake news.
Yeah.
And what kind of journalist, this irks me probably more than anything.
Yeah, wants to shut up any kind of information.
Yeah, you want information flow if you're a member of the press. And meanwhile, and we had evidence of this in two situations, which you've talked about on the show before. One, of course, is the WikiLeaks situation, which is like, oh, God.
Everybody was all for it when it made Bush and those guys look like idiots.
Yeah, but now this got to go. And then if you remember further back when Richard Engel and other reporters were asked about whether Feinstein should release the torture report.
Right.
And they were asked on the air, oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. What do you mean you don't think? You're a journalist. You want this stuff out. Why are you saying no to this unless you're a stooge for the CIA?
Yeah. Well, so I have two theories. One is kind of like the big overview picture of if you look at everything standing back 100 feet. And the other one is much simpler and maybe much more correct, at least part of what's happening. And what I didn't realize, I'd seen this potential policy proposals for regulation of social media and technology firms, which came from the office of Senator Warner. And I thought that this had come out after the purge. But as it turns out, this was leaked about a week before Alex Jones was kicked off. So let's just review that document briefly. The opening paragraph: social media and wider digital communications technologies have changed our world in innumerable ways. They have transformed the way we do everything from shopping for groceries to growing our small businesses, and have radically lowered the cost of and barriers to global communication. The American companies behind these products and services, Facebook, Google, Twitter, Amazon, and Apple, among others, have been some of the most successful and innovative in the world. As such, each of them deserves enormous recognition for their transformations, etc. But of course, investigating Russia, we realize that we need to put some regulations in place. Now, this is just a proposal, and the regulations they propose is, there's a number of them. We have to, everybody who signs up for a social network, you have to have everything right down to their social security number, have to have full...
Yeah, there's Mark Warner.
Full information on who they are, etc. Need to be able to identify and clearly label bots.
Not possible.
Determine origin of posts and accounts. I mean, all kinds of things that would put these companies out of business if they had to adhere to it in any meaningful way.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to do any of that.
So as I was looking at that, I'm thinking, well, did they squeeze these companies? And when you think about a squeeze, and this is theory one, it kind of makes sense that, we have not really seen it, and we've pretty much forgotten most we learned about Snowden. But we know that all of the intelligence agencies were inside the Silicon Valley companies a long time ago. That's what Snowden told us. I mean, we saw, of course, we never really saw any code per se that does all these things, but we saw a lot of PowerPoints about all these technologies and how they could spy on the American citizens. In fact, we're actively doing it. And to the point where Robert Mueller, the now special counsel, had an office at Facebook where he was in the building, his own office. And I'm not making this up. You can go to the Time Magazine article where Zuckerberg is the person of the year or thing of the year, reptile of the year. And he's it's like, and Robert Mueller, former FBI director, pops his head in. No,
he was FBI director at the time.
Oh, he was. Oh, you're right. He was FBI director. I was just in my office here. I just figured I'd pop in and say hi. The guy.
It's just the same. Like if you go to Boeing, and you go, there's an area in the Boeing headquarters, at least before they moved to Chicago, and in there was United Airlines and American Airlines offices.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
same thing.
Same sector, right. So the same business that the FBI is in, same sector. That's what FaceBag is in. So they clearly already had Silicon Valley in their grasp and could, to a degree, already squeeze them. And we saw a lot of things going on between the Snowden revelations and, let's just say, Russian collusion. Because I'm going to have to fast forward to that because it really wasn't that much in between. But when you look at what really happened is this narrative was started about collusion, because, of course, and I just can't get over the facts that I see that it looked like people were trying to discredit Trump before and after the election and came up with this collusion ruse, even though we know who was really colluding with foreign agents and the Russians. And they went to FaceBag and say, look, we've got all the goods on you. You don't want us to regulate you, do you? Because we can really regulate the shit out of you. We can do anything we want. Now, you need to find some collusion with Russia. So FaceBag runs around, and this request actually went back and forth a couple times. You've got to check it out. Surely there must have been something going on. And what do they show up with? $100,000 worth of ads, some of them bought after the election. And I haven't forgotten that's the genesis of this whole FaceBag collusion. And I guess just recently they said, we need some more. Oh, we have 32 more ads that were found. Oh, yes, they're added for the midterms. So that's a squeeze. They're just saying, get me something. Then we had the Backpage incident where we got to squeeze them a little bit more. We got to have you guys under control. We can't have hookers out there. I don't know why they couldn't have the hookers advertising. That may have to do with other issues that are going on. And then
that thing has never been resolved in my mind. First, it started with Craigslist, and Craig Newmark, who's a super. This is an irony of this. Craig Newmark is a extreme liberal progressive.
Yeah,
and he knuckled under at the drop of a hat. Okay.
Right. Now you have.
No, we get rid of all personals. There's going to be none. They coded, nope, gone.
Right.
Just like instantly. And then Red Book was another one of these operations, and they went down immediately thereafter. And then Backpage just stayed around for a year or two, and then for some reason, out of the blue, they
Backpage had to go. Yeah.
And there were a couple old farts running that.
And bear in mind, please, that the money is important. I mean, these deals that. There's over $1 billion worth of government deals that they have with Google. We know Amazon has a huge intelligence deal for their cloud hosting. Microsoft said everybody's involved one way or the other. And so then you get to the obvious. We have the midterms coming up, and and Alex Jones and people who feed off of him. Technically, they would be called parasites if you looked at it in the natural world, but they're just people who feed off of his ideas and his thinking. I've certainly learned lots of stuff that he said. A lot of stuff he's been right about. So his audience is
He's right about the frogs.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he
presents it like a maniac,
right?
Instead of our presentation, which was a very detailed situation with this atrazine.
Well, we're chemists, so it makes a difference. So.
Yeah, we're chemists.
So it's like we got the midterms coming up. This guy is making too much noise. It's too annoying, and the call goes out in the middle of the night. Now, for Apple, the call may have been a little different. Now, Apple also has hundreds of millions of dollars of deals with the government, intelligence agencies, all kinds of. There's a lot going on that we don't know about, or that's not been highly publicized. But there's a lot of collusion, and maybe the conversation went something like this: "Hey, look, you've got this Chinese company that you're partnered with, so that you're now going to store all the iCloud encryption keys on Chinese company servers in China. Yeah, we kind of let you go with that, but I think we're going to squeeze you a little bit, Tom Collins, unless you kick Jones off. So you got to kick Jones off, which would explain why they only did exactly what they were asked, which is kick him off your podcast, your iTunes platform, which includes podcasting, kick him off there. And they didn't kick him off the App Store because no one asked. That would kind of explain why that happened that way. Same goes for Google. And I think they may have only been asked to just obfuscate in search results. It's very funny if you go to the Google Play Store and you look for the InfoWars app, you see the top 4 apps of top 10 apps. It goes 1, 2, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 3 is InfoWars, and they've literally taken the number 3 out of the top 10. I mean, this is how stupid this is. So that is something that they've been forced to do something. No one had all the bases covered of deplatforming in its entirety. As a side note, if I may, about something I didn't realize about the iTunes removal. So, of course, in the podcasting app and in iTunes itself, both, you can add a podcast URL, and it functions perfectly fine as a pod catching device. However, what I did not realize, and I'm a little pissed about this, is that most podcast apps out there today, including Overcast, including what's the one that NPR just bought, Pocket Casts, they use an API from Apple for the directory. So when removed from the Apple directory, you also don't show up in most of the other large podcasting apps. And the reason I'm particularly pissed at this is because I gave them the entire directory to start with. And, I said, just be a good steward of it and just leave people in there. And so ultimately, now 14 years later, they take Jones out and whatever. But stupid developers have jumped on this bandwagon and have, I think, really done themselves and their users a huge disservice by not creating an alternative podcast directory, which I'm thinking of starting it tomorrow. I know exactly how to do it. It'd be open source, indestructible. Anyone would be able to access it. It wouldn't cost
anybody a lot of money to maintain. It's very simple to do. It was called iPodder. You can go look at what we did. It was all distributed directories. I'm thinking of doing that again. But also, that's kind of a travesty. That
if you don't get it done before the elections, it won't matter because all this is going to be null and void.
Oh, it's all going back. I totally agree with you. But there's a different reason for that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so just to finish up the last bit there, we need to get Alex Jones off, at least for the midterms. Yeah, maybe even said, we can let him slip in later on. It's not a big deal. But if you don't, let me just remind you, look, I have this proposed legislation. You don't want me to mess with you. That's what was probably said to everybody else. The Apple thing may have been some veiled threat about their Chinese deal.
Yeah, and dude, you got to remember that none of these people were, the Zuckerbergs, the Tom Collins, none of these people are fans of Alex Jones. It's not like they're a bunch of conservatives. They're all Silicon Valley lefties that great. So what else do you want us to do?
Exactly. Now, so and that still may be part of how this is happening, but I think there's something more sinister behind the scenes. And this comes back to Austin. Alex Jones is in Austin. Alex Jones started, what is it now, but 19 years ago, maybe 18 years ago. And there were two things that happened. One, he started with Roger Stone. Roger Stone, who at the time was part of Manafort, Blackstone, and Paul. What is it? Paul Manafort. The big law, the quintessential lobbying group who started the sector. And Roger Stone was a part of that with Paul Manafort and with two other guys. So, and he was very, very, very connected. At the same time, there was a company started here in Austin called Stratfor. And a lot of people have surmised over the years that Alex Jones was really an intelligent shill from Stratfor. Stratfor is this think tank / intelligence type operation.
Yeah, I had subscribed for a couple of years to their reports.
Well, you tell me what your feeling was about them.
Well, first of all, I'm not subscribing anymore because I found that their reports in terms of actual intelligence analysis is not as good as ours.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's very shallow. It's kind of sometimes they have a different angle on things, but it's pretty much it's a news analysis. Is a little more extensive than our coverage. I mean, they go into all kinds of stuff. They like to really do a lot of stuff. They go into Africa and all the stuff that's going on a very subtle basis. And you can. It's for briefings. You want to catch up. You're in some agency or group or something. You need to know a lot about. Sudan, South Sudan, currently what's going on in South Sudan now. They're your guy. They'll give you a briefing that is worthwhile.
Right, briefing, but not the deconstruction is shallow. I agree.
Yeah,
because I also used to look at Stratfor stuff when I first moved to Austin. So there's a coincidence there when InfoWars started in Austin and Stratfor started in Austin, and at the same time we have Roger Stone, who really came into the Alex Jones sphere of influence around that time, if you go back and look at it. And he was Alex Jones's connection to a lot of entities and people in Washington. So now to have not only Alex Jones deplatformed, but also Roger Stone has been under pressure, and he's now being put, they're trying to shut him up as well. And so here's some thinking that I've been given by people friendly to the show. When intelligence agencies, and Stratfor is purely from CIA military intelligence, and it's kind of a crossover, I guess, but there's maybe more CIA than MIA. And
DIA.
Yeah, well, yes, DIA, but I'm using a collective military intelligence.
Yeah,
it's the DIA.
It's missing in action to me.
I meant military intelligence. Yeah. That would be the DIA, but military intelligence is a little broader than just the DIA, and that's where the overlap occurs. The thinking is that to have, maybe even your classic dialectic or whatever the hell they call it, to have kind of a balance of the information that Stratfor was creating, Alex Jones was put in place. Because you always want, if you want people to believe something, you give the point counterpoint. So maybe, and I don't know, but let's just say Stratford is there to create shallow little kind of ideas of what's going on, and Alex Jones had deeper information and would tell masses of people. And I'm sure that Alex Jones has been an intelligence asset for decades, just to get information out. He has his own rants and his own things, but let's just look at the facts. He's got a big organization. I've seen it. He has a big warehouse, but it's not that big to maintain 73 people full time. So I don't know where he gets his money from, but I just find I know kind of the margins on boner pills. It's not huge. He's not making them. He's white labeling them. So the margins are pretty thin on that stuff. So what I believe, if we just take that into account, that there's been these kind of two elements, and I think Jones has overtaken any influence Stratford had. That balance may be a little bit less than it was before, but let's just, for sake of argument, say those two were created at the same time, not without coincidence. What's happening right now, and the reason why Twitter is not on this bandwagon, is this is a stress test. And the stress test is, what happens when we shut down this channel? Will people take action? What kind of action will they take? How far will the internet go? What can we manipulate? It's a stress test of us, really, of alternative media. What can the internet do? What is the strength? What is its power in this day and age? Certainly against Washington politicians, established organizations, established the way things are done. And, the answer, don't know if we've actually, probably not enough, probably dumb. We're not going to do anything. We're not taking to the streets like, we're just going to yell a little bit. And then after the elections, the stress will be relieved and it will go right back to normal. Jones will come back on as we've predicted. But I think what we're seeing here is nothing more than a stress test, just to see how powerful the internet is.
Well, you said you had two theories.
The first one is the political squeeze. The second one is that the political squeeze is...
Well, don't you think they're both the same?
Yes, but it's subordinated to the stress test. It's part of the stress test, but it's subordinated to the actual meaning for this taking place.
Your stress test thing is a little beyond. It's definitely not Occam's razor. I kind of like the stress test.
Shall I tell you something funny? Two people who I talked to about this, who gave me this information, said, think Occam's razor. They actually said this is Occam's razor. That's very interesting that you said it's not. I like that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Is that Apple not just one day somebody in the company decided that they should get rid of this guy because like an individual did. Nobody came and told anyone to do anything, and they just decided to do it out of the blue because they were Democrats and they were working in Cupertino and they didn't like what's going on, so they just cut him off, and then the rest of it fell into place accidentally because these other guys are wimps, so they just did it. And that's Occam's razor. Just there's nothing really to it. There's no scheme. There's no pressure. There's nothing. So I don't know how anyone can see that convoluted but reasonable explanation as Occam's razor.
Well, maybe it depends on what kind of beard you got to shave.
Now, I would say there's a joke in there somewhere.
I tried.
I'm going to say that I like the part one. Because there's a lot of politics going on, and Washington's behind most of it, and so is the intelligence agency. So there's something going on there, and I can see them doing a deal with Apple, and then coincidentally, even before they have to do anything with these other companies, the other companies just knuckle under.
Oh yeah, there's a domino effect for sure,
and that would be
because I don't think the CIA gives a crap about MailChimp. I don't think so.
No, I don't think anybody that except the people that use it, and I don't know what MailChimp is thinking.
Yeah, that's Silicon Valley virtue signaling. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's got to be just yeah. But this is definite, and I don't in terms of a stress test, which is this part 2, part 2. I don't know. It's just. Unless I mean, they have been pulling the plug on some other people on and off for just short periods of time, and including that black woman who's so interesting. And I don't know. I just don't see it as being.
Well, what I'd like.
There's too much master control involved here. It says I just don't see it. I mean, it's possible, but personally, I'm not into the idea.
Okay, well, so I'll monitor all signs for stress test, and you monitor for political purge. I mean, I think we both agree on one thing: he will come back. This will end. No matter which way you look at it, Jones will get put back on.
Yeah,
I agree. Of course,
and it could also have it could backfire. I mean, all the things that's been going on with this regarding Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with everything let's call them the elites or it's not the dark state, and it's not that dark. Everything they've done is worked out to be, because of the nature of the sociology of today's world, has worked against them. Mm-hmm. It's the news media who does not like Trump, and we heard the Seymour Hersh and this last thing going on about how the various newspapers and TV outlets that we monitor closely. He even says, and he's a pretty objective journalist, says they just hate Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones who got Trump elected.
Yes.
And they know they got Trump elected, but they don't know what to do about it. And to this day, they still don't know what to do about it because they can't stop obsessing about Trump. They write about him constantly. They keep his name in the news. They have phony columnists like this Jennifer Rubin, who I just saw recently on some MSNBC thing. They call her the conservative blogger, the conservative columnist. She is a left-wing progressive to the nth degree.
Right.
But they're trying to buffalo the public with this kind of thing. It's like, and so in the beginning of the campaign, somebody calculated the media gave him over $1 billion worth of airtime for free.
Yeah.
Which is how he managed to get elected in the first place.
It certainly didn't hurt. Yeah.
Because they kept following him around like it's some sort of a clown act, and Huffington Post put him in the entertainment section to mock.
That's right. Yeah, we will always keep him in the entertainment section. Does not belong in news or politics.
And so everyone was obsessing on this guy, and to the point where they were giving him nothing but publicity. And people would perk up their ears. Trump, yeah, I've heard of that guy. And then they maybe catch one of his little spiels, and it's kind of appealing because he's a populist idealist. And so they just started. Voters started coming out of the woodwork to vote for this guy because of all the free publicity.
Right.
And these guys and the news media is beside themselves because they keep doing it and they can't stop it. It's almost like a curse.
Oh, I hate the mainstream media, and I hate the statesmen. I did that interview, as we discussed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So I made sure that I said, look, the show is the No Agenda show. I'm credited at minimum with co-inventing podcasting, which is what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, so how do I show up in this article which is complete bullshit? Alex Jones has been doing this for a long time, said Adam Curry, a former host on MTV and longtime podcast personality in Austin. Fuck you, Austin statesman.
That's
hell
it?
Is that?
That's the best they could give you?
Yeah. Former host on MTV, longtime podcast personality in Austin. And then, some other bull crap in there. I'm already done reading. That's disappointing. It's disappointing. I mean, even just
Curry spelled right. Is it Curry spelled right?
Even just mention my show. Is that too much to ask for?
Is it Currie?
Yeah.
That would have been the topper.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
The guy probably listened to your show and he thinks
he's never listened to the show. He was 12 years old, never listened to the show.
No, I'm not talking about the MTV show. I'm talking about No Agenda.
Yes, this guy was 12 years old who interviewed me. I want to ask you a couple of questions, but how about he had very specific questions about maintaining a business model through donations. I don't think he's ever heard our show. But it doesn't matter. I said, could you please make sure you put in there the host of the No Agenda show? And he was asking all these podcast questions, and I said, I did, like, invented it. Yeah. Why don't you put that in there?
I'm guessing he put it in there.
Yeah, maybe it got taken out by the editor. You're right. Possible.
We don't need to be plugging this.
It was probably Nicole Cobbler, the co-writer on this, or co-credit on this piece.
Could be.
Yeah, but she's a hater.
She could be.
Yeah.
She could be a hater.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so the point is that all this stuff backfires. Everything they do backfires. I think this Alex Jones thing is going to backfire, just like everything else they've done.
But when you say
they're
backfire,
incompetent.
What do you mean when you say backfire?
It means, in other words, instead of getting him out of the way so they can push their 2016 election agenda and get a bunch of Democrat progressives in, they're going to irk enough people that they get the Republicans will have a red wave. Maybe to pick up a couple of seats in the House.
By the way,
if the Democrats don't flip the House, this whole thing is a fiasco.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't care. As long as it's material for the show.
I don't care.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for care. He does not. Dvorak.
I don't care. Yeah. Can you stall a little bit more?
Well, I just say you can do a whole bunch of in the morning stuff while you're looking for your spreadsheet. That usually helps.
In the morning. Oh, yeah. Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry, and the ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
Thank you. And in the morning to the troll room at noagendastream.com. I had my eyes closed during most of when I was talking, which I tend to do. So I haven't seen much of your troll room, but I'm looking at you now. Wave at me. I'm waving. And in the morning to Mike Riley, who came in with the artwork for episode 1058. We titled that Colorism. And this was something that we both liked it. There were a number of pieces we looked at, but this was the No Agenda in the InfoWars letter type and logo and kerning. And somehow it just had the right vibe to it for that particular show, for the things we discussed on that episode, for that point in time. It kind of showed our solidarity.
Well, I have to admit, I didn't get it initially.
Because you're not familiar with the InfoWars logo, as we here in Austin are. It's on every lamppost.
Oh, is it? Really?
Oh, yeah. There's lots of InfoWars stickers around.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So anyway,
more of our stickers around. Put some No Agenda stickers up, people.
We want to thank Mike Riley and all of the artists who always submit to noagendaartgenerator.com and help us keep our show extremely relevant. And as long as we are listed in the directory, it's an eye catcher every single time. You look at the what's hot, what's new. When we release a new episode, we're usually immediately in the what's hot and new category for news because of the amount of downloads that take place simultaneously. And it helps. It really does, and we appreciate it. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. Thank you.
All right. Well, we do have a few people to thank. Now we had we're going to do 3 segments today because I want to do the meetup separately.
Oh.
And
when did you want to do the meetup segment?
I think I'll do it next, or I could do it right after this segment. But there are 1, 2. I'm looking at the meetup list.
Well, why don't you just do it and then do it now, and then we'll go into the other donations. Let's do it all in one go.
Okay. We do the meetup thing right now. All right, with the meetup, I've got 1, 2, 3.
You want to do 3 segments? I got to talk to affiliates. I have ad breaks to move around. You can't just do that.
Well, it was in the memo.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, you did. It was attached to the thing. Eric
it did not. It did not say anything about a separate segment. It says Seattle meetup notes.
Yeah, and at the beginning it says, for this upcoming show, I want to read these separately from the normal donation segments to boost interest in meetups.
Oh, I thought that was Eric writing that. I'm like, I'm ignoring him. This was your note.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that.
Ah.
I look at it like, I don't need direction from Eric. I'm just ignoring anything he has to say. All right. You run it however you want.
Well, the point is that we did have a number of donations from the meetup, and let's do those first, and then we'll go into the other stuff.
Good.
So starting off, we got Sir Andrew Bentley Snoops Magoo from Tacoma, who sent in $333.33.
Yeah.
And he has a note. Please accept this donation in person. Show my appreciation for all the great work you guys did. Presented in person, but I so happened to be in the Seattle meetup. Was my schedule? I was scheduled to be. You wouldn't have done this except. No, he's in Colorado. How did I get this thing then?
I have no idea.
It came in an envelope. However, in my absence, all my 3 children, Jack and you, will attend. I see. One of the kids.
The kids gave it. Gotcha.
Regret not being able to meet anybody at all. We're celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary this year as well. So congratulations. Keep up the good work. 333.33. Sir Michael Black Knight of the dude's name Ben in Bothell, $55.55. Zach Smith, $65. And he has a note. Now, this is the one that's kind of weird. This is a note, which is a very long note. And I had JC edit it down to just the important part, which is his plea.
I like how the whole family's working once again.
Oh, yeah, it happens. Mm-hmm. I would be, this is like a 3-page note, and there's like 2 sentences.
It's like, thank you for your courage.
Thank you for your courage. I would be, this guy, I figured I felt bad about this. I'd be internally grateful if you could tell her, this is a class, I guess. I would be eternally grateful if you could tell her that her boyfriend, Zach Smith in Seattle, loves her dearly and is waiting patiently for her return.
Oh, boy.
They turned each other onto the show or something, and this guy went nuts for this girl. And
so have they been together? Are they a couple and now no longer?
It's a long story.
Okay. So but the final thing is this is a plea.
A plea.
Okay. All right. Think about it. Think about it, girl. How many No Agenda producers are you going to meet in your life?
Salty Hash, $555. That's
nice.
He writes, for sanity and hilarity, requests. He needs a plug he says, some kind of plug for Nick the Rat.
Okay. Listen to Nick the Rat from the Sewer Wednesdays on noagendastream.com.
There you go. And then he wants, oh my God, can you see that juice?
Yeah, okay. Anything else? Do we need karmas with that? Or
give him a karma.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
Boom shakalaka.
Then came,
Dame Mary Paul Stewart, $100.
Yeah. She sent a little note in that fell on the floor here.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to read it because it was cute. That's like a card. Thank you for the sanity, the media assassinations, and the fan. And this fan's been a listener since number 1. And then she says, "What a ride!"
Yeah. Thank you for being in the back seat.
And then we have an anonymous PA producer from the Pacific Northwest for $90, and he actually wrote a bunch of different things and nothing we need to deal with. Thank you for the show. A very great show. And there's a card and a note, and congratulations to Mimi and me for 30. Thank you. Sir Chris Sundberg, Knight of the Vortex State.
Oh, you met him?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, he's a chopper pilot.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, he's a lawyer, I think, by day, chopper pilot.
Yeah.
No,
very nice guy.
Yeah, cool. Well, us Rotary guys are always kind of nice.
55, but you're almost as nice as a foamer.
Same category.
50. Oh man!
Oh, wait, now I got to play the foamer. Go ahead, read the next one. I'll find a foamer.
Ryan McConnell. Falls City, Washington, 333.33. Add to the knighting list. Hopefully he's on there as the Knight of Twin Peaks.
Let me check here. Hold on a second.
You're checking. I'll read the note.
Oh, my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
Yeah, I have Ryan on there. He's
By the way, people comment on that clip more than anything.
It's pretty damn
they
good.
They love it.
It's pretty good.
It says, thanks for the incredible show. You two are worth your weight in salt. With this donation, I'll join the round table. To those who have not donated, people enjoy getting paid for what they do. Chip in.
Chip in, everybody.
To the producers who precede me, thank you for keeping these two going. To the post-show producers, thank you for your inspiration to get me to do my own thing. To future donations, thank you for your help. Jingle request. Karma for everyone in the collective.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got karma.
P.S. there, I'll read to you after the show. Barnaby Magruder, $132. This was I put aside because there's a very short note I want to read. Last show, my wife Jennifer called me out as a douchebag, but also requests baby-making karma. Here's a check to get a de-douching.
Okay. Oops.
You've been de-douched.
De-douched.
And to make sure that the baby-making karma was directed at me. Thank you for keeping us all sane.
Yes, thank you. Good luck with that.
We'll give him the karma.
No, of course. Baby-making karma.
You've got karma.
Matt Anala in Rocky Ridge, Montana. Okay to read. He says you want. He just gave us a. He says the Ants jingle is a banger. It's better than anything Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg put out in their prime. He also sent us 2 10-ruble coins, one for each of us.
Thank you, comrade. Good to remember the homeland.
Das is good. Peter
Das is good.
Patel's $200. I think there's a note. I'll read it. I have to dig it up. It's an email, and he should be on the knighting list. Some Peter on there or some sort.
Let me see. Yes, we have. It's Peter Chishevsky, and he'll be Sir Peter, champion of the Free Society.
I think that is him. Yes.
Yeah.
Keith Carlisle, Centralia. $100, and Sir Dennis $100 with son Miles. A happy birthday, belated birthday for August 5th. I hope he's on there. So
yes,
Miles.
Okay, hold on a second. It was Sir Dennis, son Miles. Okay, yeah, that was incorrect on the spreadsheet. Hold on.
Oh,
son Miles. Okay.
All right. Now we have. Now I'm going to go to the spreadsheet.
Well, first of all, let me thank everybody. Who came? First of all, anyone who came to the meetup, that's fantastic by itself. Donations always appreciated. And big news, the Texas meetup in Austin will take place on Saturday, October 6th. Are you writing it down?
October 6th?
Yep. Saturday, October 6th. Big meetup in Austin, Texas.
So this will be the Texas meetup.
The Texas meetup is what it will be.
Yeah.
October 6th.
Okay. In Oklahoma.
In Austin.
I would say Oklahoma, Texas, although it's pretty far.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, why don't you arrange your own meetups and we'll take care of mine.
You don't want people from Oklahoma coming?
Yes, of course. Okay, but it's going to be in Austin.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you got to spread the word out to
Oklahoma, Arkansas, everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. People.
Maryland, you
yes, yes. Everywhere.
All right. All this. Okay, good. All right, onward. We got one executive producer and 2 associates from the spreadsheet, so I think we can jam these together.
All right.
Sir Francis of SRQ, Viscount of Southwest Florida, comes in with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whoa! Oh, saving the day.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Huge donation.
Thank you very much. Is this his annual donation?
Well,
it may be. Yeah.
Thanks to John and Mimi for their Pearl anniversary. Congrats on the Pearl anniversary. John, I hope the wine exceeded your expectations at the celebration dinner. I just placed my second. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I did go through all this trouble, and I don't do the simple zooming 150% so I can scroll back and forth and read the note because it goes off screen unless I do this particular little thing.
Thanks for the narration.
I just placed my second annual, and it still goes off screen, something of the Königsgard Winery in Napa, so I have 3 bottles of the Judge Chardonnay coming, one of the best on the planet. I assume you've heard of that one. Yeah, it's well known out here. What a wonderful summer of deconstruction. I would seem that there were endless piles of M5M poop everywhere, and human poop too. And you guys are keeping the national M5M poop map updated for us twice weekly. So for that, I say a big thanks to you both. And please keep it up so we can all stay sane. I would like a full serving of the Al Sharpton montage today. Please, and some cookies and vodka at the round table. Yours truly, Sir Francis of SRQ, Viscount of Southwest Florida.
Resist, we must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race. Then co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono. Fran Drescher. Sigourney Weaver. Suspect Jahar Tsarnaev. Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh. The show Rush Lombard hosts Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Is Mike Muckery yesterday. Antonin Scalia, Kim Kardashian, and the Republican candidates, both Cairo and Benghazi. We rank behind Lavita. First stop, Kazakhstan to college students in Beijing. He's getting lunch at Chipotle in Iowa. Bain is appropriate. The GOP's tax day giveaway to millionaires. Why was traffic problems email sent? The Environmental Projection Agency. And what sequestration has done. Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!
Karma.
It never tires for some reason.
It's because it's just it's dense with humor.
Yeah.
Tortoise. That's my favorite.
Environmental Ejection Agency.
Projection
Agency. Millions the guy makes.
Yeah, from MSNBC because he's got something on somebody. Unless they're MSNBC actually think this guy's the best.
Hey, you know that this is the Daily Beast is coming with a big expose on more sex crimes and hashtag Me Too crap going on at NBC News in particular.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, well.
I can't wait for it.
That's Roger Stone at work.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And they're the target. I wouldn't want to be working there. Simon Lutz, $200. Hi, fellas. Your great work on Adam's recent turn on Bitcoin motivated me to donate. We know at the meetup.
Yeah.
It's kind of an anonymous character there. Gave us some money, and he is a Bitcoin multimillionaire. He says, I decided not to listen to your advice, he says to me.
Yeah.
And apparently this is when the Bitcoin was like $17.
Yeah, and he held on to it.
He did better. He started a mining operation early on. Mined like 100 coins or more.
Wow.
He says at one year, and he's in the Seattle area, he moved out and bought a big ranch.
Yeah.
He says at one time he had so many servers running in the house that he didn't need heat during the winter. Just put a fan on him and blew it all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy he didn't listen to us.
Yeah, he had 50 or 60 servers going, just mine.
Fantastic.
I'll do full-time mining.
I love stories like that. Good work.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Good work, Simon.
Good for him. It's pretty funny. Meanwhile, half the dudes named Ben were trying to do some stuff like that, but they never really took it too seriously, except this guy did. Takes a great amount of courage to reconsider things and acknowledge that you may have been wrong, especially after mocking it. That happens. Looking forward to the mocking part is just fun.
Yeah, we mock everything, and that's mainly to make you feel better at the end of the show. Don't take anything too seriously in life.
Yeah.
But
we're better than the average bear when it comes to accuracy.
There you go.
Looking forward to donating in a much more seamless way with Bitcoin in the future. Shout out to Crypto Twitter, and please call out Patrick as a douchebag. Oh, and for any German-speaking listeners interested in Bitcoin, I'm putting together a website to introduce people to the topic. Yeah, where were you 6 years ago? You can find it under blockinfo.ch. Keep up the great work, and thank you for your great content, the great content you provide.
Yes.
Oh, this is Simon Lutz.
Yeah, he's in Switzerland normally.
He's in Switzerland.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Simon. Appreciate that. Very nice.
Nicholas Cox in Leesburg, Virginia will be our second associate executive producer for the same $200 donation. I wanted to make this donation, he writes, on my behalf of my brother Matt C. He's broke. He's a broke-ass millennial who's been uplifted by your podcast. Please throw him some job karma and use the jingles. Obama, you're going to be dead. Followed. Who said that?
I think it means you might die, is what I think.
Oh, Obama saying you're going to die, followed by Ayn Rand, mac and cheese.
And then a jobs karma. Okay.
Yes, but hold on. Before you do the jobs karma, I have to do a report. It's very important. One of the guys, a dude named Ben at the meetup, he said he's the one who specifically asked for an all-Trump jobs karma and was out of work for 2 years.
And let me guess.
He described a whole series of coincidences that says make no sense except for the Trump jobs karma. Do not use it.
Do not use it.
Yeah, no, do not. Yeah, no. Do not use it. Do not use the Trump jobs karma. It is it has the opposite effect.
Anti-karma. Really?
That's what he says.
Oh, I misunderstood. So he got Trump's jobs karma and then had 2 years of mishaps happening.
Yeah. He specifically asked for all Trump.
Oh. Well, I'm going to remove it from the lineup in that case. That's no good.
So he also says that the combination, he doesn't know if the combination Trump-Pelosi works.
Yeah, why risk it?
Yes, right. So why risk it?
They're gone.
Why take a chance?
They're gone.
You might die.
Living the mac and cheese life.
Mac and Cheese by Ayn Rand.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. All right, and that's it?
Yeah, that's it. That'll be it for today's show, 1059.
Well, yes. Then thank you very much, Seattle Meetup donors. You definitely helped us for today's episode. And, of course, we had great executive producer, 2 associate executive producers who now can add this to their list of credits as executive or associate executive producer of the No Agenda Show, episode 1059er. And we thank you for your courage, of course. And, yes?
And we're going to spin off the guys from the meetup into executive and associate executive.
We'll put them in the correct categories, exactly. Yeah. And remember, we have another show coming up on Thursday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
You can take a lot of what you heard this morning and you can use it on your friends and colleagues. Propagate.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Squirrel.
Shut up, slave.
Hey, all righty. And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, we got a couple. Since you brought up Sharpton in, did we play this clip before? I don't think so. This is the Sharpton Lounge Act story.
No, we just go straight into it.
Since you brought Sharpton into it, so I want to play this. This is his explanation as to why Trump is a sure failure, and he doesn't seem to realize that Trump plays to pretty big audiences in a pretty big room, but. Here he goes.
Welcome to Politics Nation, coming to you today from Houston, Texas. Later today, I'm leading a rally in Florida against the state's outrageous Stand Your Ground law. More on that in a moment. But first, the continued moves by the president to incite his base again. At a rally last night in Ohio, President Trump continued to attack the media, the Democrats, the special counsel investigating the 2016 election, and yes, black people.
They're talking about this blue wave. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Maxine Waters is leading the charge. Maxine. She's a real beauty. Maxine. A seriously low IQ person. Seriously. Maxine Waters. She's leading the charge.
Let me tell you about the spin that the president's doing here and why I think his act will not work even on his own base. I remember when I was a young civil rights activist, younger civil rights activist, James Brown, the Godfather of Soul, embraced my youth group. And one day I went to Las Vegas with him. He told me, Reverend, there are those that are lounge acts. They work in the lounge where they serve drinks and they have to compete with the noise and the drinks and the conversation. But then when you make it is when you play in the big room, the inside room on the big stage. That's where you have to have a better act. That's where people sit and spend a lot of money eating dinner with their wives and their families and want an A performance. Donald Trump is a lounge act. He continues to do a lounge act. It will wear thin, and even his base will get tired of being treated like people just lounging around intoxicated.
Okay.
What an analogy.
That is very interesting. I will say that my one experience with James Brown, I have one.
Yeah.
Just, why would he be hanging out with Reverend Al? That doesn't surprise me. This was when actually I was hanging out with Dan Hartman and Charlie Midnight, who wrote a lot of the Living, well, they wrote Living in America, and they produced that album. And so they were in the studio with James Brown, and I was there. I came by. And let me tell you, no alcohol, no swearing, no smoking, no nothing. It was button down, shut up, be very, very polite around James Brown. The religious thing, big with him, very, very big. So that they were hanging out, I can think is possible. But yeah, the analogy is duh.
Dumb.
Very strange.
I will say this: I did run into again at the meetup. Chatting with a couple of guys.
I got to write that down. That's another one for my book. I got to write these stories down one day. Sorry.
Yes, you have to write these stories down.
Yeah.
They're all good stories.
Yeah.
A lot of insight that people would know. I always knew it was kind of strict, but I didn't know he was like a religious nut.
Yeah.
We had a lot of discussion with just a group of guys. The number of people that have seen an entire Trump speech, which is an hour-long speech now, there's only a few. A lot of people have seen the snippets, and so everybody, including myself, recommends that you see an entire speech.
Yeah,
because it's an act. It's not
formatted.
It's not a lounge act.
No, it's a reasonable production. I think with the Air Force One and the music, it's pretty big stage. Actually, it's a pretty big production. Not quite your lounge act.
Yeah. And it's worth it, but you want to see the whole one. And we've talked about this on the show before. When he started off, he was doing about 35 minutes to 40 minutes, maybe, and he was getting repetitious in the last few minutes. But currently, he does a complete hour of material, and it's packs them in because it's a good. If you haven't seen him or heard of one of these things, you'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah, when I enjoyed it when I saw it in Fayetteville.
And you went live. You went to the live performance.
Vietnam, yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen him on tape.
Yeah.
Or on,
the whole thing.
I've seen him live on TV.
Yeah, it was a good vibe, actually. It was okay.
Yeah. All right.
Well, one of our oldest, one of our oldest stingers, jingles, etc. on this show that we've had for pretty much, I want to say, almost a full decade is this one.
Monsanto. Ah, yes, I've got the clip too.
Oh, you have a clip. Even better. I was just going to read the story.
No, don't read the story. We got the Monsanto Roundup verdict.
Dwayne Johnson, a 46-year-old father of 3, doesn't have long to live, his doctors say. He claims his cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was caused by the Monsanto weed killer Roundup. In what is regarded as a precedent-setting case, a jury in San Francisco agreed.
Did you find by clear and convincing evidence that Monsanto acted with malice or oppression in the conduct upon which you base your finding of liability in favor of Mr. Johnson? Answer, yes.
In total, the jury awarded Johnson nearly $290 million in damages.
This case has been very hard. It's been fought long. It took a lot of years to get here.
The jury heard evidence that Monsanto knew Roundup was dangerous and could cause cancer, but hid that fact from consumers. The trial attracted prominent environmental activists, including the singer Neil Young and Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
And I'm so glad that this jury held them accountable.
Johnson had worked as a groundskeeper for a school district in the San Francisco Bay Area. He claimed he used...
it's really horrible when people who are against Monsanto, and we've been very, very staunchly against them for many, many years. It's kind of sad when the only real recognizable name you have is the Kennedy who has no voice. You know what I mean? That's our spokeshole. You can't understand him. It's kind of sad that way.
Neil Young and Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
And I'm so glad that this jury held them accountable.
Yeah, Monsanto bad. What did Robert just say?
Johnson had worked as a groundskeeper for a school district in the San Francisco Bay Area. He claimed he used Monsanto's weed killer up to 30 times a year, spraying hundreds of gallons of it. During the trial, Monsanto's attorneys argued there was no evidence Roundup causes cancer. And after the verdict, Monsanto Vice President Scott Partridge insisted glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, is safe.
It doesn't change the overwhelming scientific evidence and the 40 years of safe use of glyphosate around the world.
But Johnson's lawyer urged the jurors to hold Monsanto liable and punish them with a verdict that would, as he put it,
actually changes the world.
I'm glad to be here to be able to help with a cause that's way bigger than me.
Dwayne Johnson's case was separated from some 5,000 others waiting to make a similar claim against Monsanto. He was allowed to go first because of the advanced stage of his disease and the possibility he wouldn't live to see a verdict.
Monsanto. Still a good jingle. Couple of things. One, at the beginning of the report, they mentioned that it's that the guy was, or that they had evidence to show that Monsanto knew it was dangerous, and then from that point on, it was no evidence. They never mentioned what this evidence was. Never talk about it. And at the very end, the CEO and everybody in between goes, "Oh, it's been proven for 40 years. We're going to go appeal."
Yeah.
So it was very poorly done.
Well, so a couple questions. One, I mean, Bayer, I guess you should say, bought Monsanto. Their plan is to do away with the brand. So I don't know if they went into this knowing about this or if they got sold a bag of goods. But the sad thing is that although this is a big win and everyone can see that this is a piece of crap product and it is not safe, and obviously, there's problems with it, that's really not where they're doing the most damage. This patent on seeds and on pigs, and that's the real damage these guys cause. They have seeds that they sell to African farmers, and you can only use their seed. And if your seed happens to germinate in someone else's field, or you have a field next door, and then they're going to come by with their helicopters and check your field, and then they're going to fine you and send you a bill if you're growing any of their seeds. These guys are a-holes.
Yeah, there's a really bad scene.
They have a patent on actual life.
Well, they've been apparently in India where they've gotten a foothold. He has a serious problem with farmer suicide.
Yeah.
This is really the whole thing. I don't know how they got away with pushing this idea through that they could patent a seed and then the spawn of that seed, if it happens to go into a neighbor's yard and start growing.
It's a violation.
Some sort of I didn't do anything. I
breaking
didn't
copyright law,
Why am
patent
I getting
law.
fined?
Yeah. No, those guys are horrible. And I'm glad that it's now on hand to the Germans, because then we have other rules. I don't like it.
Yeah, the Germans have better rules than we do.
And look at Bayer's history. And not the best track record when it comes to human rights.
They're the ones who produced Bayer heroin.
Ooh.
The first heroin on the market was a headache remedy. And very pretty bottle. Bayer had the Bayer logo and it said heroin.
Really?
Yeah.
And was it full on horse? Was it good age? Was it rock, baby?
I don't know if it was like in a powder form, because powders were like a way of doing aspirin for a long time too, where you buy like goodies, and this Deep South still sells it. I think it's like a powder.
Sure, powder. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was a powder or a pill, but it was a headache remedy. I'm sure it worked.
Huh. Yeah, gave you all kinds of things to think about, except your headache. Woohoo!
So I've got there's a couple of interesting things going on. Right now, the Democrats in freak-out mode are promoting, using their celebrity base to pitch for people to volunteer. So and they want people like, if you're living in California, you're part of the whole progressive state here, and there's a hot election going on in Arkansas that gets unseat some Republican. They want us Californians to do some of their work.
Really now?
On the phone. This is really a scam as far as I'm concerned. And so the best pitch for it I've seen so far is John Legend. And John Legend, the performer, is the one who once said in recent months, said that if you're a creative type of any sort,
you can't vote for Republicans.
You have to be a Democrat.
Yeah, otherwise you won't understand music.
That's pretty much what he said. So in other words, independents and non-affiliated like myself.
No, that doesn't count. Shut up.
No, then you're an idiot unless you're a Democrat. So I think this guy's a creep. But here's his pitch, and I got a little comment about it.
It's John Legend here. I'm hosting a virtual phone bank for Swing Left this weekend to help get out the vote ahead of the special election in my home state of Ohio. That's right. I'm from Ohio, and Ohio has a very special election on Tuesday. We're working to elect Democrat Danny O'Connor to the House of Representatives. Danny is campaigning on expanding health care, and he proudly promotes his F rating from the NRA. His Republican challenger is State Senator Troy Balderson, a huge Trump supporter who wants to repeal Obamacare and embraces the NRA's extreme agenda. We only need to flip 23 seats in the House to regain a Democratic majority. If Danny O'Connor wins, we'll be one seat closer, putting a powerful check on President Trump. Studies show that calling voters right before an election greatly increases turnout. Only a few votes can make a huge difference. Plus, this is a special election, and most people don't even know it's happening. So sign up and let's get to work. Once you sign up, you'll get detailed instructions and a script that's easy to follow. You can call voters from anywhere. All you need is internet access and a phone. So let's get out the vote in Ohio on this critical last weekend before the special election. This is what democracy looks like.
Monsanto. This is what democracy looks like, he says.
This is what democracy looks like.
Democracy looks like what? A script? Easy to follow instructions, slave?
You're missing the point. That is one of their chants. This is what democracy looks like. Yeah, I know the cadence even. This is a chant. This is one of the chants.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make is that this is what democracy looks like. Turns out to be easy to follow instructions and a script.
Yeah, script and a phone.
Yeah, script and a phone, easy to follow instructions. That's not what democracy looks like.
Hold on a second.
That's what you think that's what democracy looks like? If it's somebody reading from a script in Van Nuys to somebody in Ohio? How is that democracy?
Oh, man. Well, John Legend, I think, is fairly well known that he's top of the Illuminati chain. They gave him MK Ultra presidential model, Christy Teigen, to keep him happy. I could see Tina rolling her eyes right now. That's my view on it.
By the way, Balderson, the Trump candidate, in that particular anecdote he was discussing, won. He beat the Democrat guy.
Yeah. Whoops.
So much for that. For your Van Nuys callers. When somebody calls you just before the election, ask them where they're really from. You want to just talk about their area. I understand you got like thunderstorms there, yeah? Why are you calling me? Get off the phone. Jeez.
That is interesting. I got a couple Scandinavia clips. Now, Scandinavia is in hot water with Saudi Arabia as one of the few coming out with some.
Yes, this is what big. Since we're up in Port Angeles area, where we get a lot of Scandinavian news. This is huge up there.
Yeah, I got a little bit here.
Saudi Arabia seems intent on escalating its protest against Canada for criticizing its detention of women's rights activists. It's taken a few measures to hurt Canada financially, and it's threatening more. Jeannie Lee is here with those details. So what's the impact and potential impact of Saudi Arabia's latest moves?
Well, Rashmi, the impact is obviously hard to pinpoint, but it stands to grow. And that's if a Financial Times report proves to be true, that two massive institutional investors in Saudi Arabia, that would be the central bank there and also state pension funds, have decided to dump Canadian assets. Now, if they do this, and by the way, the order would come with a quote, no matter what the cost, meaning just sell. Don't question what you're getting, just sell. Then that would obviously have an impact short term anyway on the value of the assets that they are selling. Although at this point we don't know what they're selling specifically. There was a dealer quoted today in the wires that monitor the kind of stock selling that happens, and that person said there was a major sell-off or reports of a major sell-off from an unknown international dealer yesterday. We saw how Canadian stock markets fell even though U.S. markets were up. Not that they always follow each other, but certainly it was an unusually a stark contrast in yesterday's action.
So the insinuation here is that Saudi Arabian royal family are pulling investments and doing nasty stuff to screw around with Scandinavia. And this all stems, apparently, from a tweet.
When Canada hosted the G7 summit, the Prime Minister stood alongside his closest international partners. But as Canada wades through a messy diplomatic dispute with Saudi Arabia, he's getting little public support from those same trusted allies.
We have seen a weakening of the sort of solidarity that I think would have been taken for granted a few years ago, and that is a very, very worrying thing.
This former British High Commissioner to Canada is disappointed the UK and the US are staying neutral in the spat. The British Foreign Office offered a brief statement saying Canada and Saudi Arabia are both close partners of the UK and we urge restraint. And earlier this week, the line from the US, Canada is on its own. In the wake of Brexit in the UK and the rise of Donald Trump in the US, traditional superpowers are stepping back from their international responsibilities. Anthony Carey says the lack of solidarity is a result of that shift.
And I hope that this is just some rough weather that we're going through and that we can restore the strength of those relationships, because it's a very worrying thing if we simply get into a world where it's every nation for itself.
Canada would not be testing the strength of its allies, some argue, if it stuck to traditional diplomatic channels rather than use Twitter.
The thing with Canada, their approach was undiplomatic. Behind closed doors, dialogue, communication, that's diplomacy.
So here's the tweet from Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland. Very alarmed to learn that Samar Badawi, Raif Badawi's sister, has been imprisoned in Saudi Arabia. Canada stands together with the Badawi family in this difficult time, and we continue to strongly call for the release of both Raif and Samar Badawi. That's the tweet that did it.
Well, that was approved by the Prime Minister because he's an activist.
Sure, I'm sure it was.
And this commentary about the U.S. and Britain won't stand by Canada and all that.
Well, it's just not being Canada. Assholes. No,
it's not Canada. It's this guy. Trudeau also turned on Trump after the G7 with his little speech, and got Trump all bent out of shape. He's not going to help him.
No.
And if you listen to him, there was a lot of. I guess I didn't catch any of it, but he was yakking about this quite a bit, at least in the Canadian reports from CBC. Mm-hmm. And he's just yakking, and he sounds like a 12-year-old. He's a kid. Nobody respects him.
Right.
I mean, he's an embarrassment. I don't know why the Canadians, I guess they kind of like.
Well, do you think they were trying to do a little bit of Trump diplomacy, thinking that's the way to go, and we know how to do this now, and we'll just tweet stuff out? That's how it's working.
Element to that.
Yeah, that must be.
It works for Trump.
Yeah,
it doesn't work for Trump. It's just Trump. It's part of Trump's arsenal.
There's a lot that goes along with it. Exactly.
So it's a douchey all around. So I was getting there. Anyway, well, here's just current news. I might as well put this in there. This is the gearing up. I put this in. This is about the bunch of protests and demonstrations and bull crap in Chesapeake area and Virginia. And all
this is for the yesterday's anniversary of Charlottesville. All the news networks were live, waiting for a bloodbath. Yeah. We need to see it. We need to see death and destruction.
So
outrage porn.
This was the pre-report. I put it in. You're going to have to try to guess why I put this into today's.
Is the word convo or veggies in there by any chance?
No.
Okay.
No. You didn't guess it.
No.
You may figure it out once you start hearing the report.
About 700 Virginia state troopers are part of the heightened security in Charlottesville. Part of the city has been locked down, cutting off all vehicular traffic and forcing pedestrians through 2 checkpoints, all until Monday morning.
Nothing would excite us any better than this to be non-eventful and folks to go home and it be a peaceful weekend for all.
1 year ago, white nationalists, angered by a plan to remove a Confederate statue, marched through the University of Virginia campus bearing torches while chanting racist and anti-Semitic slogans. The next day, thousands of white nationalists made their way through Charlottesville's streets, only to be met by counter-protesters. Violence and chaos swirled for hours. Heather Heyer was killed when a car plowed into a crowd of counter-protesters. James Alex Fields was indicted in Heyer's death and faces dozens of hate crime charges.
Is there an epidemic of constipation going on in the mainstream media?
No, this is your boy.
This is the guy.
It's Jeff.
Now, white nationalists have planned a rally for Sunday in Washington, D.C. At least 5 counter-protest groups were also granted permits. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
The only right message, and the message that I hope that we will carry jointly as Washingtonians, is love, inclusion, and diversity.
Guns will be prohibited from the demonstration zone in Washington, but they are allowed within downtown Charlottesville. UVA student Eric Patton Sharp. So what is your main concern heading into this weekend?
Main concern is making sure that there's total safety for civilians here in Charlottesville and that the police presence actually does their job and protects the students and community members.
Officials won't say whether the increased police presence here is just as a precaution or in response to a specific threat.
To be honest, I couldn't get past the constipated delivery.
It's Jeff. Jeff Pegues is the best.
Yeah. Is that why you clipped it for me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guessed it because he was pooping.
And now, I thought it was interesting that the mayor of Washington, D.C., similar to the mayor of San Francisco, part of the new regime of progressive black women, says that the only thing that's important is love, inclusion, and diversity.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what about public safety?
No.
I mean, she's the mayor.
No, if you have love, then you don't have to worry about anything else.
Public safety, clean the poop off the streets, this sort of thing seems more important to me than diversity.
Yeah.
But okay.
Because you had asked, I did some more follow-up research on the Austin Equity Council, who wanted to change the name of Austin because, Austin's founder owned slaves. So how can we possibly call ourselves Austin without being a shining example of institutional racism?
Mm-hmm. It makes nothing but sense.
So they had a special meeting because they want to build a stadium and this is all part of it, by the way. They wanted to build a stadium for Major League Soccer in Austin. We want to be, besides the tech mecca. Oh, yeah. Besides tech mecca, now we want to be a Major League Soccer hub for all of the United States. They couldn't do it in L.A., so maybe Beckham will move here. That would be then we really have to leave. Beckham moves to Austin.
He's not moving there.
So there were people who want this, there's a lot of Major Leagues, MLS, they call them, MLS player, MLS fans. But it's the same council and the same people who also are in the equity division for the renaming, because this has to do with gentrification, etc. And from what I understand, I've been trying to get video. I know someone has an iPhone video of this. Apparently, all of the MLS fans who were, whenever someone came up and said something positive about the stadium and Austin, and don't worry, black people, brown people, we're not going to displace you with our stadium. You have nothing to worry about. Then all the MLS fans would be hooting and hollering and cheering. But anyone who was even on the council itself, when someone said something they agreed with, they did finger snaps.
What?
Yes. Hello, 1960s.
No way.
Yes. It was written about everywhere. Everyone was writing about this, but I haven't seen a video.
Like a bunch of beatniks at a coffee house back in the
finger
50s?
snaps. Yes.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Yeah,
hey,
man.
Cool, baby.
You hand me some reefer, man.
Yeah, man. That's right. Keep Austin equitable and diverse. Yeah, bang the drums, Johnny boy. Exactly. Yeah. I wish I had my tambourine with me. Can you believe that? They're doing finger snaps.
I cannot believe it. I don't believe it.
I can just see they had a meeting like, hey, we're going to be civil. We're going to finger snap. We're not going to be hooting and hollering like those degenerates who are trying to kill the neighborhoods.
Oh, God.
Which they are.
Oh, man.
Isn't that great?
That's fantastic. You can't move now.
No, only one of us is going down with the ship, and that's you in California. I plan to live a long life.
I think you're going to have to grow a goatee and make it again, dye it black, and then start wearing a beret.
A beret. A beret.
Yeah. A black beret.
Perfect. Well, geez, I'll finish. We got to go to a break here, but I'll finish with one more Austin story. Even though I've been holding on to this clip for a couple episodes, I did just want to play it. It's on the media, NPR with Bob Garfield, and he's talking to Cody Wilson, the Austin kid who is printing up the ghost guns.
Oh yeah, I had this clip.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this is a good clip.
You know how Jim Fixx, the runner and cardiovascular guru, died of a heart attack, and the owner of Segway segued himself right over a cliff? Do you worry about the irony of the universe leading you to be shot by a plastic gun?
I don't worry about it, but I think it's a strong possibility. Nick Bilton at the New York Times asked me the very same thing. Aren't you worried that someone's going to print one of these out and shoot you to make some point? Well, yeah, it's probably going to happen, right? But it'll be some progressive, some frustrated progressive who thinks that I ruined the world by, disabling his nanny state. So, well, fine. Perhaps I have to suffer a death, but it only makes their cause look more futile.
Well, I'm just saying that I was at the movies the whole evening, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Cody, thank you very, very much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Nice, Bob Garfield.
Yes, this was cited by a lot of people as with the subtext of really a violent response to this bastard who just did nothing more than write some code. Harmless code. No one's going to make these. I mean, yeah, some guy's going to shoot a couple of these guns off. So what? You can buy guns. It's not like you can't go get one. And this kind of mean-spirited commentary. I won't be here. I won't.
I was at the movies. I didn't do it. I didn't shoot him. I don't hate my guest so much I would kill him with his own gun. It wasn't me.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting Dimension B. Completely, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Commentary, yeah. I don't know why I don't have. I mean, I had that clip floating around. I don't know why I haven't put it on my list.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda. In the morning.
We do have a few people to thank for show 1059, starting with David Hutchinson at $129. He's donations to further smoking hot wife's eventual damehood.
Oh, nice.
Emma of the Mid Valley, 9503, his birthday there. And coincidentally, in the random number thesis, Today, 23 years ago, my smoking hot wife and I got married.
Ah.
So we got smoking hot wives, one after the other.
Yeah, of course. The No Agenda listeners. We attract smoking hot women.
Smoking.
That's right.
Sir John Donovan, Baron of Sicon Val in San Jose, California, 8888. Tyler King, 8888 in Redway, California.
Wait, did you get M of the Mid-Valley?
Yeah, I did.
I'm sorry. Well, he's your friend in the AFG. I didn't hear that part. Okay, that's good. Keep going.
Oh, I didn't read it.
Right.
Didn't read the note.
No worries.
M of the Mid-Valley, 9503. Maybe I didn't do it. Now you got me wondering. Yeah, no, because I had to read the smoking hot wife part.
Yeah, but there's two smoking hot wives.
Yeah, that's why I said the second smoking hot wife.
Okay, smoking hot wives. Good.
Okay, we got Stell's getting a birthday call. There's a Tyler. Do you have the Tyler King birthday call? That's the one I was asking about.
I do.
Oh, okay. Well, how come the other ones are really? Is that a different color yellow in your?
It is.
Okay. Egghead, AIGH head, 8888. Please call me Egghead. There's a birthday shout out involved there somewhere.
Yeah.
One happy and one sad. Do we get that note? Why don't you look up his note? Great. We don't know what his email address is, so we can't look up the note unless it's under Egghead.
It might be. So. Well, you go ahead. You keep on reading. I'll see what I can find.
Richard Hedenberg, 8888. A lot happening in my life last week, and I simply missed this. I share my birthday. Another birthday. Is Hedenberg on here? It's not for my birthday.
Yes.
We got a lot of birthdays going on. We didn't have none last time.
Yeah.
Amanda Albritton in Kingston, and Hedenberg is 8888. Amanda Albritton, 8008 in Kinston, North Carolina. Please make this donation. Make sure the boobs won for my husband on our 15th year anniversary, October 4th.
Yeah, okay. She sent in a really nice note, an email to me, and she says, hey, my husband listens to you. He really loves it. And his brother gave him a donation and a shout out for his birthday last year. And it's our anniversary. And I think the boobs donation is the one I want to give. It was really sweet. They're very kind of her.
Peter Tangney in Plymouth, Massachusetts, 7777. Anthony DiStefano in Poughkeepsie, 75. Keep going. Q for Dvorak. Chris Beggio, 7373. 73s. Edward Pash, 6006. Here's a little boob to brighten John and Adam's day. Julian Carpenter, 5377. Avon, Colorado. He needs a de-douching.
Okie
dokie. You've been de-douched.
And we do have a birthday for his dad coming up. Taylor Martin. Now, the rest of these are 50. We don't have a lot today, actually. You get some big ones and then just the normal kind of thing. Would have helped if I did a newsletter, but I didn't.
Yeah, people were very worried about you. You didn't do a newsletter. They were.
I'm going to do a special newsletter on Monday.
Okay.
Maybe. Peter Middleton in Reinholds, Pennsylvania, 50. These are all 50s. Taylor Martin in Reinholds, Pennsylvania. Peter Middleton, parts unknown. Robert Dacanay in Fairfax, Virginia. Kimberly Redmond in Toronto, Ontario. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Brett Yo in Cantonsville, Maryland. Richard Gardner.
Sir, I think.
Sir, yes, Sir Richard Gardner. Parts unknown. Robert Bruckner. And that's it. Boom. Done.
Yeah, I remember why you do the newsletter.
Yes, I just proof again.
Yep.
Why you do the newsletter? You're always begging for money. Well, now you know the reason why.
Yeah, because people then remember. They remember to listen. There's a lot going on in people's lives. We understand. And by the way, thank you very much for choosing once again to listen to the show. There is so much you could do. But as I heard someone say the other day, podcasting, unlike anything on YouTube or video, it's found time. It's time that you didn't know you had to fill with beautiful information and helpful hints and life-saving tips. Because you can listen to a podcast in all kinds of situations.
Yeah, at the gym.
At the gym.
While doing the dishes.
While walking the dog.
While going to work. While walking the dog.
While making love. I mean, you can listen to podcasts anywhere. Yeah, well, it's just a thought. And we thank everybody.
Let us know how that works out if anyone tries that.
We thank everybody who came in, also under $50, many for our subscriptions, some for anonymity, as we do not read any notes or names under the $50 level. And please remember us for our Thursday show at Dvorak.org/NA. 2 meetups we have to mention taking place right now in Arlington, Virginia at Lion Hall. Let me see. Yes,
They're listening to the show. Hi,
hello,
boys.
Lion Hall. All right. Oh, I should probably play a jingle for them. Hold on a second. I would like everybody at the meetup right now, or whoever is managing the volume, to turn it up.
Spot the spook. Spot the spook. Everybody wants to spot the spook.
Yeah. All right. Point to the spook.
I think we had at least 2, maybe 3 spooks at the meetup in Seattle.
Oh, possible. Sure. Well, good. And we're happy to have them. We need you guys.
Get us some more listeners. You guys got so many people working. They're not doing much.
Yeah. And you know your colleagues will enjoy. We'll name check them, whatever they need. It's all good.
Yeah, whatever they want.
That's typically what they like. So that's taking place right now. And tomorrow we have the meetup in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Marble Brewery between 7 and 9 p.m. That's 11 Marble Avenue in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So go check that one out. And mark down October 6th as the future Austin meetup. And again, mark down Thursday. That is our next program. And remember us for your support at
Dvorak.org/NA. It's your birthday.
And here's our list for today. Sir Dennis says happy birthday to son Miles, who celebrated on August 5th. Tyler King also on the 5th. Richard Hettenberg on the 8th. We have M of the Mid-Valley says happy birthday to Estelle. She turns 15. Julian Carpenter says happy birthday to his dad, Conrad. And Taylor Martin will turn 22 today. Happy birthday from all your buddies here at the best podcast in the universe. I should have actually done a jobs, Carmen, before I left everything there.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And now it's time to hand out some knighthoods. We got 3 gentlemen we need up here on the podium. Billy Bones, Peter Chishareski, Ryan McConnell. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your support of the No Agenda podcast in the amount of $1,000 or more. And I'm very proud to pronounce the KB, Sir Billy Bones with an E. Sir Peter, champion of the Free Society, and Sir Ryan McConnell, Knight of the Twin Peaks. Yes, gentlemen, for you, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Cookies and Vodka, Warm Beer and Cold Women, Taquito and Tequila, Single Malt Scotch, Early Times and BF4, Crawfish and Crab Cakes. We got Ginger Ale and Gerbils, Bong Hits and Bourbon, Geishas and Sake, and Mutton and Mead. And all of you have a ring waiting for you at noagendanation.com/rings. Head on over there, and Eric the Shill will take your deets and get your rings off to you as soon as possible. Remember to tweet them out so we can retweet and show everyone how cool you are joining the peerage of the No Agenda Show. It's real. The titles are real. The rings are real. We're real. Not a figment of your imagination.
And if anybody was left out, which is possible.
Very possible.
The meetup, and it was like paper flying.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of, I didn't bring the envelope. Just let us know. We'll take care of it next show.
Yes. Could I just do a little flashback for people? I thought it would just be helpful. Also,
flashback.
That is very effective. Could you do that again? That's very effective. I like that a lot.
Flashback.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good. But all of this talk of meddling in elections, and, you know, we said, yeah, we meddle, they meddle, everybody meddles. But maybe it would be good, since it's been a couple of years now, to listen to some actual American meddling in another country's business. And not just a little bit, but brazenly so. Determining who's going to be in the government, who's going to be doing what jobs, who is connected right, who are we going to sideline. I am talking about And it's 2.5 minutes, a little long, but it's good for you to hear again, to remember that this is what democracy looks like. This is actual collusion. I'm talking about Victoria Nuland, when they were literally manipulating the Ukrainian government under all kinds of shady circumstances. Forget about all the business interests that are taking place under the auspices of the State Department in Ukraine. I'm talking Kerry's kid, Biden's kid. Everyone's in there, billion-dollar hedge funds. We got Chevron putting billions of dollars in. And then this call was recorded and released by, I'd have to say it was Russia, which also may be part of the anger that some people have towards Russia. But this is such a doozy. I just wanted to play it again so people can remember that we truly are also a-holes.
What do you think?
I think we're in play. The Klitschko piece is obviously the complicated electron here, especially the announcement of him as deputy prime minister. And you've seen some of my notes on the troubles in the marriage right now, so we're trying to get a read really fast on where he is on this stuff. But I think your argument to him, which you'll need to make, I think that's the next phone call we want to set up, is exactly the one you made to Yachts. And I'm glad you sort of put him on the spot on where he fits in this scenario. And I'm very glad he said what he said in response.
Good. So I don't think Klitsch should go into the government. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you think, in terms of him not going into the government, just let him sort of stay out and do his political homework and stuff. I'm just thinking, in terms of sort of the process moving ahead, we want to keep the moderate Democrats together. The problem is going to be Tony Book and his guys. And, I'm sure that's part of what Yanukovych is calculating on all of this.
I think Yachts is the guy who's got the economic experience, the governing experience. He's the guy, what he needs is Klitsch and Tony Book on the outside. He needs to be talking to them 4 times a week, I just think Klitsch going in, he's going to be at that level working for Yatsenyuk. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Okay. Good. Well, do you want us to try to set up a call with him as the next step?
My understanding from that call, but you tell me, was that the big three were going into their own meeting and that Yachts was going to offer in that context a three-way, the 3+1 conversation or 3+2 with you. Is that not how you understood it?
No, I mean, that's what he proposed, but I think just knowing the dynamic that's been with them where Klitschko has been the top dog, he's going to take a while to show up for whatever meeting they've got, and he's probably talking to his guys at this point. So I think you reaching out directly to him helps with the personality management among the three, and it gives you also a chance to move fast on all this stuff and put us behind it before they all sit down and he explains why he doesn't like it.
Okay, good. I'm happy. Why don't you reach out to him and see if he wants to talk before or after?
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay, I've now written, one more wrinkle for you, Jeff.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I told you this or if I only told Washington this, that when I talked to Jeff Feltman this morning, he had a new name for the UN guy, Robert Seri. Did I write you that this morning?
Yeah, I saw that.
He's now gotten both Seri and Ban Ki-moon to agree that Seri could come in Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So that would be great, I think, to help glue this thing and have the UN help glue it. And, fuck the EU.
While I'm driving off laughing, this is what I'll say. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU. Fuck the EU.
Oh, exactly.
Fuck the EU.
Just a little flashback.
So at the meetup, there was this pretty blonde that showed up, and she happens to be one of the people at Amazon Intelligence.
Oh, okay. And what did she have to say?
She said she had a funny way of finding the show. She was in Russia for a couple of years, finishing up something or other. She's a security analyst, and she was in Russia for a year or two as part of her college program. Mm-hmm. And she was there during this specific episode. And she said she was nearby where there were protests outside of the American embassy, and there's people picketing saying, get the CIA out of Ukraine,
right?
And this sort of thing. And they had a whole different story about what the hell is going on over there. And she said somebody turned her on to our podcast. She says she heard it, and she says, these are the only guys that are actually covering this at all.
Yeah, at the time, it's true. It was, to me, we were like, wow, this is fantastic. Barely covered. Under the guise of, well, she said a bad, the F word, so we can't really play this tape for you. You really shouldn't hear it.
Right.
It's like, because she said something bad. She's sorry for it.
Nobody played that and took it or analyzed it or took part. They just all played along with whatever we were telling it or what our government was telling everyone to say. And so they were parroting whatever our State Department said.
Yes.
And so she found it very refreshing. She's been a listener ever since.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Spook. It's okay. We welcome spooks.
Don't care.
Amazon intelligence. I can understand Amazon security, but what's the intelligence? Are they spying? Did you ask about?
It has to do with market intelligence.
Spying?
Maybe.
What's the difference?
I know I've seen market intelligence used as a structure that people. I'm in marketing intelligence. In other words, they.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know why they bother, but okay.
Marketing intelligence, interesting.
Yeah, but also security. So she had a strange background.
Well, Amazon knows everything about it. Amazon really is, in my mind, almost more evil corp than Google.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But, they're running Whole Foods now. And it's
I've seen this one story about Facebook trying, requesting customer data from the banks. And, of course, you can't really find any in-depth analysis of this. Because my first question would be, do the banks have my written permission? Have I signed that away when I opened an account? Am I unaware of their ability to do this?
To do what?
To give my data to a third party like FaceBag?
I think that they just do it. I don't know that you've given them the.
Well, honestly, when you open a bank account,
but you're a customer of their bank, and they. Well, what if I gave your email address to Facebook? Or what happens when they say, I look at your or when you click on Google Maps, it says we now own your contact list. Well, people on my contact list didn't give me permission to do that.
Right.
I think there's a lot of this going around.
Well, I'm just curious if my account history. I mean, look, the credit card companies, I know they sell it. And I think that's the same thing. When you sign up for the credit card in there, it's like, you're screwed. We'll take whatever we want from you. It seems.
I don't know. You're going to have to ask your banker. Where did I?
Yeah,
where did you?
He wasn't really in retail.
I'm going to give you the conversation. Why don't you? I'm your banker.
Okay. Hey, former New York banker. How you doing?
Good.
How's that Tesla? I got to rub it in.
It's not as good as I like.
It's not as good as I like. So, even though you've never been on the retail side, can banks just give away all of my data to Facebook?
I don't think so.
You're not the New York banker. What did you do with the New York banker? No,
I don't think they do. I don't think so. We don't do that.
Okay. Well, it's in print that they've asked it, so I'm just curious.
Well, it's not our bank. We don't do that.
Okay. Can you just go back? I like John better, please. I like him better. I don't like the banker in that way. He's not giving me any info. I'm just saying.
There you go. Hey,
I'm just saying.
Welcome to banking.
Yes. Well, that's the whole point. Banking was supposedly secure. You put your money there. It's your relationship with your bank. But when you get Chase, J.P. Morgan, who are Hey,
value add.
What does this FaceBag person say? We don't use purchase data from banks or credit card companies for ads. No, of course not. You use it for profile building. That's very different. Well, anyway, I'm sure we have several people in the banking business who can tell me what the deal is.
Well, let's stop it for a second, and you explain your bitch.
Well, like Amazon, Amazon has a lot of purchasing history for me, although I'm trying to wean myself off of Amazon because, ultimately, they know way too much about me. I I already don't get any of the free deals at Whole Foods. I can't shop at Whole Foods anymore. Besides the price, this is they're trying to connect everything with Amazon. They're trying to make the circle completely, close the loop. Yeah, close the loop. Yeah, I just don't like it. So can my bank give my purchasing history, my whatever I spend my money on, to Facebook and give them power that could rival Amazon's knowledge of me?
Know what you're buying? You take money from them. I guess you write a check once in a while.
If you use
cash,
if you use a debit, okay. Look,
cash,
hey, thanks for the conversation. Let's go to another topic because you're going to be a dick about it. I'm asking if it's legal. Can they do it? Do you sign your life away when you open an account? It's a simple question.
I don't know. Read the fine print. I've never noticed that they do this.
Well, credit card
companies don't seem to care. As far as I'm concerned, they don't even seem to want you to have an account anymore, these banks. Have you noticed this?
Yeah. Now there's a good point. They don't. I'm pretty sure you sign that away when you open an account.
Maybe.
But yeah, obviously you want to minimize the information you're giving out, but the world is digital. Digital money, baby. Oh, wait a minute. There's another story about the same Chase.
We are already mostly going cashless, right? So Chase wants to eliminate cards. Crap. Chase is rolling out cardless transactions to most of its ATMs. You no longer need a physical debit card and can instead get cash using a mobile wallet. Teenagers across the country are all thumbs up. Things like Apple Pay or Google Pay on your smartphone. Users can simply tap their smartphone on the ATM to easily access money on the go.
Yeah, that's what they're all talking about. They're all talking cashless, baby. And they're going to give the kids a wallet. They're very smart. They're marketing their way right into this. It's
and
great.
The kids are suckers.
Yeah, of course they're suckers.
I'm up in Seattle, and they said, hey, do you have any money? I said, don't you bring any money? No, we don't carry money. Everybody. What do you mean you don't carry money? They know the old man does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an old man. He'll carry money. Why don't you bring some money? Well, I didn't think that we needed money. Banknote company. Play this clip. This is kind of a counter to the whole thing. This is one banknote company. Apparently makes 90% of all the banknotes. That's why you go from country to country. The banknotes look like they're made by the same company. They're made by the same company.
But many countries around the world get their currency from a small private firm just outside London. De La Rue London has operated for more than 200 years. And Roxana Saberi got a look at how they fit the bills.
Big Ben turns to gold, and turtles take a ride in wallets when designers at British company De La Rue transform ideas into money.
Beneath the pretty designs actually it's a piece of critical national infrastructure. Economies rest on banknotes.
Creative director Julian Payne says while Friday art class is part of the work week, the mission that designers here face is serious and far-reaching.
Everything here except the US dollar we've designed.
De La Rue has designed more than a third of the world's bills, from the UK's sterling to the Seychelles rupee and the Fijian dollar. And while most Americans use credit cards, 30% of the world's adults don't even have a bank account.
You have to understand how people use their money. This is an example of how some people fold money in sub-Saharan Africa. And then it's stored in interesting places as well. So they will store it in their clothes, in underwear,
under
in
the
shoes.
Bed.
Under the bed, absolutely, under the doormat. So they're not going to take it to the bank.
So that money that you create has to be sturdier.
Durable, exactly.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
So I mean, it's not over yet.
Can I ask you a question? And it's a very low-level, stupid question. I just want to see if I understand something. When it comes to inflation, if someone says our inflation is 2%,
yeah,
now I understand the basics. That means that the power of your money has diminished, or the cost of goods have gone up by this 2% compared to the money you have. Same thing. Does this occur due to setting of the rates, or does inflation imply actual creation of new money that lowers the purchasing power of the money?
Nobody knows.
Okay, nobody knows. Okay, thank you. Best answer. And the reason why I was thinking of it is I remember when in the 70s I was on vacation, in the late 70s, from Holland in the States, and the Toyota truck, I remember the whole campaign, Jump for Toyota. Remember that it would jump up the whole family and they'd freeze it, like Jump for Toyota.
Up and then they freeze frame.
And I remember the cost of the truck. Yeah. $4,999.
Yeah.
Now, the same truck, although, of course, modernized today, costs $50,000. Same truck.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's because of inflation. The power of our dollar has diminished.
Well, there was a real serious inflation issue in the 70s. So everything from about 1965 to 1970, everything you bought in that period would be 10x.
Right.
And I always look at it as 10x. Gasoline was
it's about it,
25 cents a gallon. Now it's $2.50. Now it's gone up, so there's been even more inflation. The Ford Mustang in 1965 was $2,700.
Yeah, and now it's
so it's $30,000.
$30,000, yeah.
Plus. Yeah. So everything is 10x in that period, and this benefits a lot of my dad used to always say, the thing about high inflation is it benefits the debtors. Because you get to pay off your debts in cheaper
money, right.
And so the bankers and all these people that have a lot of outstanding debts, loans, they got loans out. They don't want people paid. So they're trying to keep inflation down. The Fed knows that inflation is going to creep into the system anyway because the business cycle will make it happen. So it's their job to do a balancing act to keep it around their goal around 2%. That way the banks can deal with the cheaper money because it's not going to get that much cheaper. And the whole thing is the Federal Reserve that's their job, is to kind of keep anything from going too crazy one way or the other. But to try to keep it low also promotes the idea that perhaps you can go into a depression or you have reverse inflation.
Yeah, when has reverse inflation happened?
I've never seen it really.
Exactly.
It almost happened around 2008, 2009. They talk about it and it never happens because they're just not going to let it happen.
Right. So
flood the market with money.
However this black box works, the bottom line is that in about 30 years, you get about a 10x devaluation in the purchasing power of your money.
Probably.
Okay, good. Then at least I understand.
Well, you kind of do.
Go Bitcoin.
Well, I would actually say gold.
Yeah, well, it's there may not be that much difference between the two in some aspect. In some aspects,
but you can buy a gold bar.
Yeah. Yep, I had one. Good times.
We know. Good times. The story's been told.
Good times. All right. Just staying in the financial realm for 1 second, I want to play this clip, and I have a little comment about it. This is about and by the way, I want to say we called a short on Tesla, which is not investment advice, but we were absolutely right. It went down to 250. It doesn't mean that you remain short and that now we're like idiots because it went up. I mean, this is how it works. This is day to day, and I think we called it correctly. But now this thing is skyrocketing because Elon Musk, in a tweet, said, I'm paraphrasing. I'm going to take this thing private. The financing secured, at $420, which is an obvious joke. Not that the taking the company private is a joke. In fact, I think he's going to. I have a thought on why. Here's the little story first.
Let's bring in now Larry McDonald, who's been listening at all of this stuff and put out a great note about looking at Tesla bonds. Before we get to what the bonds may be telling us, let's talk about this equity move here, Larry, because you've got either one of two things happening. You've got a market that is happy that maybe Musk may be recusing himself, or you've got a market that may be happy that by this reporting by Alex Sherman, it is more likely a deal for a takeout is going to happen. Or I guess C, combination of the above.
Well, I think Karen nailed it. I mean, this is making it look like there's a deal. It's a kind of credibility cover-up. But at the end of the day, they would have to do something like this once he put that forth. But, the bottom line is, as I was listening to the table here, he's made a mockery of the SEC. And if you're worth $26 billion, right? He's making a calculated bet that, okay, I might get $1 million fee. It might be $5 million. You're worth $25 million. You'll spend $1 million, $5 million, maybe $500,000 to burn the shorts. And at the end of the day, now the board has to put forth a happy face. They have to make it look like they have real financing. But the whole capital structure all week bottom line, from the Solar City bonds to the high yield bonds, has really been telling you there's no financing there right now.
So the reason I bring this up is during my calls over the weekend, the Elon Musk came up, and like a throwaway conversation, like, how about that? And what the fuck is he doing? And I'm here to tell you that the intelligence agencies, but really in particular, the National Geospatial Agency.
Yeah, that guy. Those guys.
And of course, NASA. They love Elon Musk. He is God. He is so deep inside, because we all talk about Tesla. That's his payoff. They're going to help him. They will do whatever he wants. I truly believe he'll take it private at 420. They love this guy. It's all about SpaceX. Tesla is a joke compared to what he's really doing. This guy is in deep. They love him, and they will do anything for him. They think he's the wunderkind, the genius. He's gone way beyond where we see him in the public eye.
Man. Tony Stark.
In a way, on that level, now they are not insane, thinking that he's going to have some suit and fly around and save the world. But yeah, at that level of heroics is where the intelligence, especially the Geospatial Agency, love this guy, protect him, do anything he wants. Nothing to worry about. If he wants to take the company private, yes, financing secured. It's taken care of. He is the love child of the spy agencies.
That's a good theory. I'm just telling you what I heard. This is what I've been told. Yeah, well, you heard it. It means somebody's talking about it, but it doesn't mean they're right.
No, but it falls in line with
Space Force.
It does. Everything falls in line.
And
the goal of the guy to say he's going to take it private at 420. I mean, you take it private, you do what Michael Dell did. The stock is starting to fall. It's falling way down. Gets down to pretty low, and then you buy low with your own money and whatever financing you get. You buy your company back, and then you run it back up in value, and then you put it public again, and you make a killing. You don't buy high at the ridiculous price of 420. I mean, you don't take a company private at that number. It's crazy. That's insane.
It's a lot of money. And this guy knows one thing for sure: how to get money from the government.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to argue that. Although Solar City did fail.
Sure, but it's irrelevant. They'll do it. And I think Tesla is a dumb dead company. The cars are basically not all that great. Sexy is a lot going. It's sexy. It's a sexy little thing.
The newest Model S. They could now the Model 3 I haven't yet to see one. I might have seen one because it looks like a Model S that's smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But the newest Model S with that stupid boat nose looks like it should be in the water. They took the fake grill off, which was a nice design element.
Mm-hmm.
They took it off, and that's got that stupid front. It's very ugly when it comes by. And then the model, that other one, that SUV with the gull wings.
I'm sorry.
Like
I just had to laugh at Nick the Rat in the troll room. Nick says, buy high at 420. That's some good thinking there, Nick.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Good line, Nick.
Yeah, good way to go, Nick. I think it'll happen, and I think it's just a plaything. It's not a serious car company. It'll never be a serious contender. It's his public Tony Stark persona that kind of covers up the real work that he's doing. And I'm content on. You know what? He's got quite a future. Here's Fox. I'll play a dumb clip from Fox with. And this guy normally doesn't go on Fox. I thought it was a CNN shill. Michio Kaku.
Michio, that Kaku guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He's on everything he can get on.
Okay.
Space Force.
That's right. I think we have to take it seriously because Donald Trump sees this as part of his legacy. Long after he's gone, we're going to have a U.S. Space Force for the first time since 1947, a new branch of the military. And I think he wants to put his stamp of approval on this, so we have to take it seriously. We don't realize that outer space, we are a sitting duck for a preemptive strike.
Right.
You realize realize that we are the most vulnerable because we have over half of all the commercial operating satellites in orbit.
Yeah.
And even a small nation like North Korea, a hydrogen bomb over Kansas would be enough to wipe out nearly half of our telecommunications network and paralyze power stations across North America.
Right.
And that's just one hydrogen bomb over Kansas. In fact, this conversation is happening in outer space. Right. This TV show is carried by
Space
satellites.
Force.
The internet, telecommunications, radio, GPS, all of it, the economy, national security is done in outer space. And like I said, we're sitting ducks. So that's why I think we should follow what Ronald Reagan did. Ronald Reagan said, A, we need peace through strength, but B, let's cut a deal with Gorbachev. Let's try to manage the unmanageable by cutting a deal. Now, the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 could address these vulnerabilities, but it's way out of date. It says nothing about laser cannons, killer satellite technology, kinetic energy weapons, nothing.
No, and the world has changed so much.
So much.
Space Force.
Oh, yeah. Laser cannons, energy weapons. Woohoo! I'm telling you, and Elon Musk is the man. You hear Trump? He's always talking about, we got commercial people sending stuff into space, Space Force. We're the best. Commercial, all these. We got rockets flying. It's all Elon Musk. And not all, but Elon Musk is the golden child.
Yeah.
He's got them all by the balls.
We'll see.
Yep. Well, I'm saying 420, he takes it private.
420.
Look, I'm not.
I think 420. If it's 420, it's got to be the number. I think. Now I'm thinking about it. The symbolic, in your face, 420.
Yeah.
Smoking a doobie.
Yeah. I'll buy 100 shares. I can't. That's all I can afford. It won't make a lot of money, but
won't make any money.
Like $100.
What's it at now?
$360 probably. Yeah, so not even. I'd make $60. Yeah, it's all right.
$60 on a lark.
On a lark. Exactly.
It's a lark.
Exactly.
Well, let's play a...
This is not advice, by the way. This is not investing advice. Do not come to me.
It is bad advice.
Do not come to me for investment advice.
It's bad advice.
Yes, it's a very bad piece of advice.
But then again, I had the guy in my face who had started a Bitcoin mining operation.
Yeah, there you go.
8 years ago.
He just bought a ranch, and here we are doing a podcast.
Yeah, we're still podcasters.
Oh, by the way, Sean Spicer. Yeah, the first White House press spokeshole for Donaldus Trump.
Yeah.
Speaking at the Commonwealth Club, as you can imagine, when you have been in the public eye like that, and Saturday Night Live skits are done about you, and just all this. I mean, this was the guy to hate on, to yell about. I mean, he was defending the indefensible, and you'd think, really, this is a career starter. You get out, you can go almost anywhere, you can do almost anything. And Sean Spicer has really grasped this opportunity, by the horns and taken it head on. And he's got a career path that I'm very, very envious of.
I have a number of questions about your next steps. What are your plans, and how has your time at the White House colored, let's say, your opportunities?
I've frankly been pretty blessed with a lot of things since I've left, and I've launched a podcast.
That's right. He's launched a podcast.
I'm glad he's stepping up in the world.
Welcome to the big league, Sean. Yeah, man, it's cold up here. Lonely at the top of the podcast
It'll be on
pile.
Podcast One network.
Yeah, probably.
With everybody else.
All right, we got time for another clip from you, and then we should go.
Well, I've got a couple. We can do Snapchat's failing is an interesting clip.
Ooh, I'd like to listen to that for a second.
Do that one.
3 million active users is what Snapchat said that they lost in this last quarter. Before we get into the overall social media, what does that mean for Snapchat specifically?
It's a good question. I mean, Snap hasn't had particularly encouraging earning reports since it went public. And I think what people are looking at now is not just whether or not Snap's recent redesign is the cause of this, which is what the CEO, Evan Spiegel, said was part of the disruption in users.
We heard a lot of rumblings about those.
Absolutely. I mean, the redesign was very poorly received. In fact, Snap ended up reversing some of the design changes that it made. But I think the bigger question is whether or not this hints at some sort of larger social media fatigue, and this is more evidence of that.
Yeah, you're hitting on the point exactly, because in order for these companies to flourish, they've got to be used by people. So have we hit that hard stop? Is the saturation point among us?
I think the saturation point question is the big question right now. And when you look at the fact that Facebook has more than 2 billion users on its platform, you just start to think, oh my gosh, how could they possibly get any more users than that? And that is the point, right? There are only so many people in the world, and there are only so many people who are going to want to use social media and platforms like Snapchat and Facebook. So at some point, these companies, and they've already started to do this, need to think less about this, user number and think about engagement. And that's what's actually going to matter in the long run.
Engagement is the amount of time a person spends on the site using the service, right?
That's correct.
People turn away from social media when they stop finding it to be a pleasant experience. So one of the issues facing all these companies is how do they, for lack of a better word, police the language, police the behavior? Seems like a complicated question for companies that are just trying to make a buck.
Yeah. Social engagement. They put a chart up showing how happy are you after you go on one of these things? And a lot of people are starting. More people are saying, "I'm getting
miserable.
depressed.
I'm miserable.
I'm miserable. I was told off. That I'm a Trump supporter." or whatever.
There's hope.
Trump has ruined these things for everybody.
Yes. Well, I thank him for that.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he did a good deed.
Go Mastodon.
Mastodon.
Go podcasting. Go Bitcoin. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for those of you on the live stream in the troll room, noagendastream.com. Great to have you here. If you're on the stream, we have On the Odd, episode 906, coming up next, the Flat Earth Theory. That should be a good one. They're pretty new to the stream. That's the No Agenda Stream. It's 24/7. There's always something fun on. Thank you, Ben Rose and Void Zero. All right, everybody. That will do it. We do return on Thursday. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, the capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio, in the common law condo in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where there's poop everywhere, I'm John C. Dvorak.
Until Thursday, as always, adios, mofos.
Donate to a No Agenda. They give us shows week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique. Flying over Afghanistan, or maybe it was Pakistan. I promised myself to aim myself at every woman, child, and man. That was on my list. I don't care if I missed. I'm remote controlled. I do what I'm told by someone at a computer. Obama gave me a push. More than Bush, and I cost millions. I'm supposed to target terrorists, but not so much civilians. I don't know what to say. Whoops, some got in my way. A drone again, naturally. A drone again, naturally.
I see it clearly.
For more on this conspiracy theory and how it's spread, I'm joined by the NewsHour's PJ Tobia, who's been following this. PJ, first of all, what is QAnon?
This all started last fall on 4chan, which is an anonymous online message board.
There we go. Q-Vision. There we go. I see it clearly.
Q is actually a reference to the Q clearance. It's one of the highest security clearances. Q claims to be highly placed in the government and has visibility into a kind of conspiracy of globalists, a permanent criminal government that's been running the U.S. The Clintons, the Obamas, the financier George Soros, and many, many others. The conspiracy goes on to posit that President Trump will team up with the U.S. military and crush this cabal by throwing them all in jail, starting with Hillary Clinton.
Let's communicate. Interplanetary hyperspace.
Do they have any evidence?
Open up your mind.
They're little clues.
Q will answer questions anytime.
Q vision. I see it clearly.
Watch for this. Look for that. Actions that the president is about to take to crush this cabal.
Feel the gravity. Moving to a new reality.
Do they have any evidence?
Open up your mind.
They're little clues.
You will send your thoughts throughout time.
I see it clearly.
Watch for this. Look for that.
Q vision.
You see, he was colluding with. He wanted to make it look like he was colluding with Russia on purpose, so that Robert Mueller would be hired, and he could team up with Trump, Mueller and Trump, teaming up together to investigate the Clintons and the rest of the deep state and their global pedophile sex ring.
So that takes a lot of thinking to get that far.
And a lot of talking. They spill a lot of digital ink online about this stuff.
Everybody jumped on it. Every mainstream outlet jumped on this. So now, when you take a look at things, you see them through Q vision. Pedophiles who eat children in the Clinton cabal. Q vision.
Hold on a second.
What?
The Zephyr's painted blue.
Oh,
now.
no. Does it say obey on the side?
No, it doesn't. Thank goodness.
So, and I'm just pulling up a few things that I've learned that people in the Q movement are obsessed about. And if you look at it through the Q vision glasses, which you're wearing right now, you may be able to see this in a different light. QAnon is blowing everything wide open. All of this money in Washington, D.C., all of the lobbying, pedophiles who eat children.
Let's communicate. Interplanetary hyperspace.
Do they have any evidence?
Open up your mind.
Little clues.
You will answer questions anytime.
Watch for this. Look for that.
I see it clearly.
Actions that the president is about to take to crush this cabal.
Feel the gravity. Moving to a new reality.
Do they have any evidence?
Open up your
They're
mind.
little clues.
You will send your thoughts throughout time.
Watch for this. Look for that.
I see it clearly.
Actions that the president is about to take to crush this cabal.
Let's communicate.
The movement is very real,
Let's communicate.
and it's not to be ignored. And I will now have my Q glasses handy, proving Q is real, which is a total waste of time. Who cares? You know, the deconstruction he does is reasonable, or she, or it.
Well, I don't even see that much deconstruction. I see a lot of hinting. Oh, look at this. Look for this. Look for that.
Yeah, that's what most of it is. It's not to be ignored. That's why we have our Q Vision glasses, so that we can look at it with Q Vision and then not have to worry about being able to straddle that. We can always take them off and look at it from a different perspective. Q glasses off.
Trumpzilla! Oh, it's Trumpzilla!
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA. Oh my God! Woo! Listen to that horn!